Chapter 1, Chapter 1, Sasuke Last Moments. In the desolate Valley of the End, a momentous event unfolded. The towering statues of two legendary figures, revered as the god of shinobi, lay shattered and reduced to rubble. Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha, whose names instilled fear in the hearts of many, even long after their demise, had once again left an enduring impact on the elemental nations. These enigmatic individuals represented the latest iterations of the descendants of the Sage of the Six Paths Ashura and Indra. However, amidst this grand clash, the world remained oblivious to the emergence of two prodigious beings who surpassed even the might of Hashirama and Madara. Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha, the new bearers of the Sage's bloodline, embodied the powers of the Sage's sons. As the cataclysmic battle raged on, unleashing a torrent of devastating explosions that reshaped the very terrain they stood upon. However, amidst this turmoil, the inhabitants of this world fell victim to an eternal genjutsu known as infinite Tsukiyomi, trapping them indefinitely. The conflict itself stemmed from a clash of ideologies regarding the state of the elemental nations. Sasuke harbored a profound desire to dismantle the existing order, dismissing the authority of the five cages, and instead sought to shoulder the burden of the world's hatred himself. Naruto, however, could not bear the thought of his cherished friend and brother figure walking such a destructive path. Unbeknownst to one another, jealousy had festered within their hearts for years, each longing for the qualities they perceived in the other, while oblivious to the truth that bound them together, the shared absence of a true family. Nevertheless, their respective paths had diverged significantly. Naruto, despite enduring rejection and scorn, had managed to garner recognition and form meaningful connections throughout his arduous journey. He had found solace and support in the precious bonds he had forged. In stark contrast, Sasuke had been left to tread a solitary and dark path, consumed by his hatred and isolation. In the end, Naruto's relentless pursuit to catch up to Sasuke bore fruit, and the two shinobi, now the epitome of power, clashed in a final showdown. The battle waged on relentlessly, their fierce exchange of blows leaving them both sprawled on the ground, with each one arm missing and their spirits weary. It was in this moment of vulnerability that Naruto and Sasuke found themselves reflecting upon the extraordinary journey they had embarked upon. Sasuke, defeated and unable to comprehend Naruto's unwavering fascination with him, found himself adrift in a sea of uncertainty. Even in his rogue state, Naruto's unwavering loyalty and support had never wavered. However, the truth of his brother's sacrifice, his family's demise at Ataka's hands to protect him and the village, shook his very core. It shattered the foundation of his pursuit of vengeance, leaving him perpetually confused. His lifelong goal had been achieved, yet he found himself standing at a crossroads, realizing that the dead remained forever beyond reach. He was left, as he had always been, alone. As Sasuke severed his remaining connections, he transformed into a rogue shinobi, a marked target for the entire world. His power far surpassed that of the current cages, but he understood that he needed to regain their trust and atone for his past transgressions moving forward in the future. As they stood together, prepared to free those trapped in the infinite Tsukuyomi, Sasuke found himself reflecting on his life's journey. Memories flooded his mind, from his yearning for his brother's affection during their innocent childhood to the tragic day he became the lone survivor of his clan. Driven by a burning thirst for vengeance, he walked a treacherous path, encountering Team 7, crossing paths with Orochimaru, and embracing the life of a rogue ninja. His ultimate goal was achieved when he exacted revenge upon his brother, only to uncover a hidden truth that had eluded him for so long. The turmoil in Sasuke's mind persisted as he let go of his relentless pursuit to assassinate the five cages. Although Naruto had defeated him, memories of Konoha were still tainted by unpleasant experiences. Weary and with a heavy sigh, Sasuke realized that if he were to harm the cages, Naruto, the stubborn and determined fool before him, would undoubtedly challenge him to yet another grueling battle. "Let's get this done, Naruto," Sasuke said, his voice a mix of resignation and unwavering determination. Naruto responded with his characteristic bright smile, his eyes shining with unwavering resolve. "Come on, Sasuke, can't we make this a bit more exciting?" United by their shared destiny, Naruto and Sasuke moved in perfect sync, seamlessly performing intricate hand seal. Their voices merged as they spoke the command to release the jutsu in perfect harmony. The world itself seemed to tremble, responding to their immense power. The prison-like cocoon formed by ethereal roots began to unravel, disintegrating into swirling fragments. The illusory realm, where people's deepest desires had been woven into reality, crumbled before their eyes. As the veil of illusion lifted, Sasuke lowered his hand, surveying the world as it returned to its former state. However, amid this chaotic transformation, something unexpected occurred. Sasuke's eye surged with power, awakening his Rinnegan in response. The pain grew unbearable, causing his eye to bleed profusely. Sasuke grimaced, closing his eye tightly. His vision blurred, and the surrounding sounds became distant and distorted. Amidst the chaos, he faintly heard a voice calling his name repeatedly. Suddenly, a swirling mist of vibrant purple hues materialized, enveloping Sasuke completely. The mist quickly condensed, forming a captivating portal that seemed to trap Sasuke within its embrace. The purple mist gradually settled, and just as abruptly as it had appeared, the portal sealed shut. Sasuke, the enigmatic figure of the Shinobi World, vanished without a trace, leaving no evidence of his existence or his unique chakra signature. Chapter 2, Accepting Death. In an unfamiliar world, two stunning women engaged in a passionate conversation. Their pure beauty illuminated their surroundings with a radiant glow. Suddenly, a disturbance in the fabric of space caught their attention, causing a sense of unease to wash over the woman with lustrous black hair. The anomaly possessed an otherworldly aura, demanding immediate investigation for the sake of her devoted followers. Filled with determination, she approached the disturbance, and her companion followed suit, drawn by curiosity and concern. To their astonishment, a swirling purple mist emerged from the anomaly, giving way to the arrival of a young boy. His enigmatic presence was accentuated by his raven-hued locks, framing his face in an intriguing manner. One of his eyes bore a captivating ripple pattern, adding an air of mystery to his appearance. However, the gravity of the situation became evident as their gaze fell upon his missing arm, its absence accompanied by a steady flow of crimson. Falling through the portal, Sasuke became acutely aware of the looming presence of death drawing near. The bandages that once concealed his missing limb had vanished, leaving him exposed and bleeding profusely. Exhaustion coursed through his being, weighing heavily on him and amplifying his pain. Struggling to regain focus, he could vaguely discern the silhouettes of two figures in his immediate surroundings, and they were strong. Sasuke contemplated the presence of others nearby, his mind filled with a flurry of thoughts. Uncertain of their intentions, whether they would befriend or harm him, he considered various escape and recovery strategies. However, each plan relied on his dwindling chakra reserves, leaving him with limited options. Faced with this predicament, he resolved to unleash a devastating attack without regard for the consequences. After all, he was already a rogue shinobi, having lost his family. How much worse could things get? Drawing upon the last traces of his fading chakra, Sasuke activated his Sharingan, triggering a remarkable transformation. The three tomo in his eyes evolved into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, captivating the attention of the black-haired woman who felt an inexplicable connection to him. A swirling purple aura enveloped Sasuke, shrouding him in further mystique. Harnessing his newfound power, Sasuke summoned his half of his Susanoo, initially appearing as a skeletal rib cage but gradually manifesting into a magnificent warrior adorned with muscles and tendons. This majestic purple avatar stood tall before him, emanating an aura of formidable strength. However, amidst this awe-inspiring display, Sasuke's deteriorating condition became apparent as he coughed up blood, a harsh reminder of his weakening state. As Sasuke was preparing combine Amaterasu with his Susanoo, he stopped. Struggling to maintain his composure, he spoke through fits of bloody coughs, noting, "It appears they are not launching an attack." His impaired vision added to his challenges, further obscuring his surroundings. Overwhelmed by the gravity of the situation, Sasuke couldn't help but express a mixture of bitterness and humor. Is this death? After everything, it seems I am nearing my end, he sighed and could not help but jokingly remarked, that idiot Naruto will actually outlive me. As Sasuke's Susanoo began to fade, he sensed the exhaustion and weariness that consumed his spirit. A lifetime filled with darkness and tragedy had taken its toll on him. With a bittersweet smile, he whispered, "Itaki, it seems we will be reunited." A sense of calm washed over him, and he embraced the inevitability of death with serene acceptance. Collapsing to the ground, all movement ceased as he prepared to join his beloved family in the afterlife, a smile lingering on his lips. Meanwhile, the black-haired woman felt a strong connection to the boy, sensing that he somehow belonged among them. Addressing Yasaka, she requested her assistance, saying, "Please help the boy, Yasaka. If we handle this situation carefully, he could become a valuable ally." Yasaka, also known as the Nine-Tailed Fox, had a captivating presence. Her flowing blonde hair cascaded down her back in a ponytail. 9 golden-colored fluffy tails swayed gracefully behind her, emitting an aura of divine power. Her captivating figure, on the other hand, drew attention, a figure accentuated by a yellow kimono that clung to her curves with tantalizing allure. Her ample bosom strained against the fabric, threatening to erupt. Yasaka possessed both enchanting beauty and a heart full of compassion. Her eyes, filled with a mix of sorrow and determination, conveyed a genuine promise to help the young boy. Recognizing the depth of tragedy that surrounded him, her voice carried a familial sadness as she vowed, "I will do everything I can to assist this boy." It's truly heartbreaking to see such a young child in such despair. Kneeling down beside the boy, Yasaka's gaze held warmth, along with a genuine desire to offer salvation. Carefully examining his injured form, she felt a sense of intrigue. His serene smile in the face of impending death fascinated her, evoking both curiosity and admiration. Drawing upon her Uchiha powers, she cast a healing spell, channeling energy to stop the bleeding from his wounds. Gently, she cradled the boy in her arms, paying no mind to the difference in their sizes. With a tender touch that belied her immense power, Yasaka carried him to an unoccupied room in her home, carefully placing him on a soft bed. Yasaka devoted herself wholeheartedly to tending to the boy's wounds, offering him the utmost care and attention. With a calm demeanor and steady hands, she skillfully applied first aid, delicately cleaning and dressing his injuries. Each touch was gentle and precise, as if handling something fragile yet immensely valuable. As she diligently worked, she couldn't help but be fascinated by the boy's chakra, a phenomenon that intrigued her deeply. The realization that chakra, predominantly associated with yokais, resided within this young boy left Yasaka astounded. It ignited a curiosity within her, driving her determination to unravel the mysteries surrounding him. It also explained the profound connection she felt with him, recognizing his potential to become a formidable ally. Continuing her meticulous care, Yasaka carefully undressed the boy, prioritizing his comfort and cleanliness. With a sponge and warm water, she tenderly cleansed his body, taking extra precautions around his wounds. Chapter 3, Sasuke's Confusion. As Sasuke's eyelids fluttered open, he was greeted by the soft morning sunlight that bathed the room in a warm, comforting glow. An incessant throbbing in his head and an overwhelming weariness weighed him down, heightened by the unfamiliarity of his surroundings. Noting the fresh bandages encircling his arm, Sasuke quietly acknowledged his survival with a mix of relief and an unsettling uncertainty that plagued his thoughts. The proximity to death still haunted him, leaving him disoriented. His mind raced, grappling what to do. Thoughts of Konoha, Naruto, and the aftermath of the infinite Tsukuyomi swirled in his consciousness, yet answers remained elusive. What had transpired during his unconscious state? Had his former village and comrades been freed from the confines of the genjutsu? And where did he fit in? A whirlwind of confusion, frustration, and a faint sense of purpose tugged at Sasuke's emotions. His existence had long been consumed by vengeance and darkness, making it difficult to grasp a new sense of direction. Should he persist on his solitary quest for redemption and atonement? As the door swung open, Sasuke's eyes met a woman with flowing blonde hair, captivated by her beauty. There was an air of elegance around her, reminiscent of his mother. Their gaze locked, and though Sasuke maintained his usual impassive expression, he couldn't deny the pleasantness her beauty brought him. The woman confirmed that she had indeed treated him, her eyes filled with relief. She introduced herself as Yasaka and spoke softly but concernedly. "Are you all right? Your injuries were severe, and you nearly died from blood loss." After a pause she said, "You've been in a coma for 2 days since I nursed you back to good health." Her voice had a soothing quality to it that Sasuke couldn't help but notice. While he rarely showed it, Sasuke was not oblivious to the kindness Yasaka had shown him. She had provided utmost care during his unconsciousness, sparking a subtle curiosity within him. As she continued to speak, detailing his condition and recovery, Sasuke listened intently, hoping to glean some understanding of this unfamiliar world he now found himself in. Amidst their conversation, Sasuke's curiosity grew too strong to ignore, and he finally voiced the question that had been troubling him. "Where am I?" he asked, his voice tinged with confusion. Yasaka met his gaze and calmly replied, "You are in Japan." Sasuke's confusion deepened, as this was a place he had never heard of before. Seeking further clarity, he inquired about the Fourth Ninja War, hoping for something familiar. However, Yasaka shook her head, revealing that she had no knowledge of any war. Disappointment etched itself onto Sasuke's face, prompting him to probe further. "Do you know where Konoha is?" "That is my hometown," he explained, a glimmer of hope in his voice. Sadly, Yasaka confessed that she had never heard of such a place, further dampening Sasuke's expectations. A sense of shock enveloped Sasuke as he realized the magnitude of his situation. When he requested a map, Yasaka handed one to him, and the unfamiliar world depicted on it left him astounded. It was a world entirely different from the elemental nations he knew. In that moment, Sasuke cursed his fate, understanding that he had been transported to a new world or dimension, much like Kagaya's abilities. The reality of his predicament sank in, and Sasuke's mind swirled with disbelief. The memories of his Rinnegan's power, the pain, and the purple mist resurfaced, making him suspect that his ocular abilities had somehow brought him here. However, his current weakened state prevented him from taking immediate action. With depleted chakra and a frail body, he knew he had to be cautious and observant, especially when it came to Yasaka. While grateful for her kindness and assistance, Sasuke's ninja instincts compelled him to remain vigilant, recognizing the potential dangers of being a foreigner in this world. His past attachments may have waned, but the lingering fear of encountering hostile forces in this unfamiliar world weighed heavily on Sasuke's mind. He understood the importance of protecting himself and preventing any potential threats from reaching his home world. Keeping his guard up became a necessity for survival. As Sasuke contemplated his next move, a realization dawned upon him. Tomorrow, he would be fully recovered, and in this new world, he needed information. However, the question remained, how could he gather intel without arousing suspicion? The idea of using genjutsu or the human path crossed his mind, but Sasuke couldn't bring himself to resort to such manipulative tactics. After his encounter with Naruto, he had come to understand the consequences of his past actions, vowing not to repeat the mistakes that nearly cost the lives of Karin and Sakura. He refused to become that person again, causing harm to the innocent. Examining Yasaka, Sasuke couldn't help but acknowledge her physical beauty. There was a certain allure about her that reminded him of Tsunade, but he sensed something distinctly different. She seemed almost non-human, which sparked a flicker of concern within him. However, he couldn't deny the genuine care and emotions she had displayed during his recovery. If she was indeed non-human, Sasuke hoped that she wasn't some malevolent person preying on humans. Yasaka realized she had neglected to ask for his name. Curiosity mingled with a tinge of guilt as she inquired, "What is your name?" Sasuke deliberated, torn between revealing his true identity or providing a false one. Ultimately, he opted to disclose only his first name, maintaining his stoic demeanor. "My name is Sasuke," he stated firmly. Adding, "By tomorrow, I will be fully recovered, and I will no longer intrude." Sasuke couldn't help but notice a hint of heartbreak in Yasaka's reaction upon hearing his intention to leave. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 4, Old Memories. "You are not intruding, it is usually just me in this house," Yasaka said, her voice tinged with sadness. "I rarely have guests since I'm mostly occupied with taking care of my people's needs," she added, a hint of pride in her words. "You can stay here as long as you need to fully recover. Besides, why would I want such a handsome boy to leave?" she playfully teased, punctuating her statement with a wink. Sasuke listened attentively, considering her offer. While he still needed to gather information, he couldn't deny the allure of Yasaka's company. "I will think about it," he replied, his mind focused on finding the answers he sought. Not wanting to be impolite but driven by his curiosity, Sasuke carefully broached the topic. "You are not human, are you?" he asked, aiming to maintain a friendly tone. Yasaka couldn't help but giggle at his observation. "Fufu, it seems you've noticed. I am a nine-tailed fox," she revealed with a mischievous grin. In that instant, 9 soft and fluffy tails emerged from behind Yasaka, further confirming her true nature. Sasuke's facial expression remained unchanged, but inwardly, he couldn't help but draw parallels to the fox-like appearance of the vixen before him. He silently hoped that she wouldn't possess the same hostility as Naruto's tailed beast, Kurama, before their eventual friendship was forged. "You should rest now, Sasuke-kun. Tomorrow morning, I'll prepare breakfast for you," Yasaka said cheerfully. Sasuke nodded in acknowledgement as he watched Yasaka leave, her 9 tails gracefully wagging behind her. A sigh escaped Sasuke's lips, and he muttered to himself, "This is going to be troublesome." He brought his hand to his face, clenching it into a fist. "Why couldn't you be there, Naizen?" he whispered, a hint of longing in his voice. "What am I supposed to do now? You said you respected my choices, but Konoha. Even after your sacrifice for the village, the Uchihas no longer have a place there," Sasuke spoke with determination. A pang of guilt accompanied his next words. "I'm sorry, Naruto, but I don't share your attachment to the village. Once I return to my world, I'll fade into the shadows," he admitted, his voice filled with conflicted emotions. Sasuke grappled with his decision, knowing that he would have to face the consequences of distancing himself from the world he once knew. As the sun's morning rays gently bathed the room, Sasuke gradually emerged from his slumber, rousing himself from the embrace of sleep. His eyes flickered open, adjusting to the light as he blinked away the remnants of drowsiness. Rising from the bed, he stretched his weary limbs, feeling the all-too-familiar ache and stiffness that accompanied his awakening. It took a moment for his body to readjust, and reconnect with his physical movements after being unconsciousness for a while. An exasperated click of his tongue escaped Sasuke's lips as his gaze fell upon the void left by his missing arm. The constant reminder of his choices weighed heavily upon him. However, deep within, he knew that his power remained intact. Determination flickered in his eyes as he acknowledged the need to adapt and relearn a new fighting style. The thought of acquiring a replacement arm made from Hashirama's cells, as Sakura had suggested, crossed his mind. Tsunade, the 5th Hokage, possessed the skills to create such a prosthetic. Yet, another option lingered in his thoughts, one that sent a shiver down his spine. The image of Orochimaru, the sinister snake-like figure, flashed in Sasuke's mind. He could almost hear the bizarre tone of his voice as he licked his tongue and eagerly offered his twisted assistance. The mere thought of it sent a chill down Sasuke's spine, reminding him of the darkness he had when Orochimaru wanted his body. "Thanks, Naizen, for getting rid of the snake," Sasuke said truthfully. Sasuke sensed someone approaching and turned his gaze to see Yasaka entering the room. "Ah, you're awake, Sasuke-kun," Yasaka greeted him warmly. "I've just finished preparing breakfast. It's usually just for myself, so I hope you enjoy it." Sasuke expressed his gratitude to Yasaka for her hospitality and moved closer to her. He couldn't help but notice the significant height difference between them, with Yasaka standing 3 inches taller. It felt peculiar to him, but he quickly dismissed the thought and focused on following Yasaka through the corridor. A melancholic expression clouded Sasuke's face as he observed Yasaka's home. The resemblance to his own former dwelling was uncanny, even the layout evoked a sense of familiarity. Memories of his time spent with his family before the tragic massacre flooded his mind. The third Hokage had relocated him to an apartment after the incident, and seeing Yasaka's home brought back a wave of nostalgia, tinged with sorrow. Yasaka, noticing the sadness reflected in Sasuke's eyes, yearned to comfort him. She couldn't deny the growing attraction she felt towards him, sensing his immense strength that surpassed her own. Taking a leap of faith, she decided to address his feelings. "I hope my home doesn't make you too uncomfortable, Sasuke-kun," Yasaka expressed her concern. Sasuke, realizing that his emotions were showing, swiftly regained his stoic expression but allowed a faint smile to grace his lips. "You have a beautiful home, Yasaka-san. It just reminds me of my own," he replied, continuing to walk forward. Yasaka caught his response and deduced that his family was likely no longer with him. Seeking to lighten the mood, she playfully remarked, "Fufu, Sasuke-kun, you don't have to be so formal with me. It makes me feel old. Just call me Yasaka." Her words carried a sense of happiness and warmth. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 5, Grief and Unfilial Son. Sasuke and Yasaka sat together, creating an intriguing contrast. Sasuke maintained his composed posture, while Yasaka exuded grace. The ambience was serene, with soft lighting casting gentle shadows on the walls. The table was adorned with enticing dishes showcasing Japanese cuisine. Yasaka's attention to detail was evident in the arrangement of the dishes, creating a sense of warmth and comfort. Miso soup, freshly prepared sushi, tempura, and fluffy white rice were placed at the center of the room, creating a sense of warmth and comfort. Sasuke's gaze shifted between the assortment of dishes that Yasaka had prepared, realizing the depth of his hunger. Expressing his gratitude for the meal, he delicately maneuvered his chopsticks and took his first bite. The explosion of flavors tantalized his taste buds, surpassing any expectations he had. Unbeknownst to him, a solitary tear escaped, tracing a path down his cheek. The taste of Yasaka's cooking evoked memories of his mother's meals, a bittersweet reminder of the warmth and comfort he had once known before the tragedy that befell his family. Gathering himself, Sasuke composed his emotions and continued to eat in silence. Yet, within the recesses of his mind, a storm of conflicting thoughts and emotions raged. The opportunity to grieve had finally presented itself, and he couldn't ignore the weight of his losses any longer. The pain of his mother's absence, the longing for his father's guidance, it all surged to the surface. Regret washed over him as he realized he had not properly mourned their deaths. Neglecting their graves and forsaking his duty as a son, he questioned his worthiness to carry their legacy. As each mouthful stirred memories of happier times, Sasuke's resolve wavered. Was his sole purpose to return to a world that branded him a criminal, a world in which the village itself had caused his suffering? The prospect of reuniting with his former life felt increasingly dim, overshadowed by the pain and suffering he had experienced. The solemn realization settled within him, raising significant questions about his identity and his path forward. Yasaka couldn't contain her concern as she observed Sasuke retreat into his shell, sensing the weight of his past weighing heavily on him. The glistening tear on his face spoke volumes, hinting at the depth of his sorrow. With a warm smile, she reassured him that he didn't have to share his reasons, emphasizing that he was always welcome in her home, where she would gladly prepare an abundance of food for him. Sasuke, appreciative of Yasaka's understanding, mustered a smile in return. He genuinely valued her genuine care and concern. Throughout his life, he had often been seen solely as an Uchiha, an emblem of tragedy and a figure to be protected. The pitying gazes he encountered after the massacre upon leaving the hospital disgusted him. It was only when he departed from Konoha that he felt a true sense of liberation, freed from the burdens of his prodigious talent and the expectations that burdened the Uchiha clan. In the midst of his journey with Team Taka, despite his initial aloofness and commanding demeanor, he had come to appreciate their presence. Reflecting on his actions, he acknowledged the need to apologize to them, particularly Karin, whom he had taken for granted and almost killed, an act which must have devastated her. As Sasuke contemplated his path and the redemption he sought, he recognized the significance of finding his way back home and mending the relationships he had damaged along the way. After finishing their meal, Sasuke expressed his desire to find a training ground where he could reacquaint himself with his body after being bedridden. Agreeing to his request, Yasaka guided him to a training ground she frequently used. As they arrived, Sasuke took in the sight of an empty courtyard with stone-lined flooring and flourishing greenery. The serene atmosphere that enveloped the training ground had an inexplicably calming effect. Yasaka informed Sasuke that this area possessed an abundance of natural energy she used for senjutsu, a power system he had encountered through Naruto's usage. Intrigued by the unexpected presence of this technique in this world, Sasuke made a mental note to investigate further. However, for now, his immediate concern was ensuring he could still defend himself, making use of whatever resources were available to him. As Yasaka left, Sasuke found himself alone in the training ground, surrounded by the stillness of nature. Determined to vent his emotions and sharpen his skills, he reached into his scrolls and retrieved his arsenal of shurikens, kunao, and his trusty kusanagi swords. Taking a deep breath, Sasuke centered himself and began practicing the intricate sword katas he had learned from Orochimaru. With each fluid movement, he felt the weight of his loss and the longing for his missing arm. Despite the challenges, he pushed forward, honing his technique and adjusting his balance to compensate for the absence. Seeking to further test his precision, Sasuke shifted his focus to shuriken and kunao throwing. Leaping into the air, he activated his Sharingan, causing his eyes to emit a crimson glow. The world seemed to slow down as his heightened perception allowed him to track multiple trajectories simultaneously. With a flick of his wrist, 3 shurikens materialized between his fingers, held in place by his chakra-infused grip. He released them one by one, each finding its mark with impeccable accuracy. The shurikens danced through the air, their trajectories intertwining and colliding. One deflected off another, altering its course, as it curved gracefully towards a distant tree. The thud echoed across the training ground, leaving a mark on the sturdy trunk. Sasuke landed gracefully, his face solemn and determined. This training session was just a chance for him to express his grief, frustrations, and determination to overcome his restrictions through his past actions. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 6, Sasuke's Future Goal. As Sasuke continued his training, his focus shifted towards mastering his chakra control and refining his use of jutsu. With only one hand at his disposal, he had to adapt and find new ways to execute his signature moves. Focusing his chakra with precision, Sasuke seamlessly formed the necessary one-handed seals, effortlessly channeling his nature affinity. Fire style, great fireball jutsu, he said as he breathed out flames. The roaring flames illuminated the training ground, casting dancing shadows upon the surrounding greenery. Not content with just mastering fire-style jutsu, Sasuke also dedicated himself to perfecting the Chidori and its variations. He propelled himself forward, crackling with lightning chakra, as the distinctive sound of the Chidori crept through the training ground. Sparks danced along his hand, enhancing the piercing power of the technique. While Sasuke's combat prowess remained formidable, his thoughts were preoccupied with finding a way back home. He contemplated his failed attempts to utilize his Rinnegan's space-time jutsu, understanding that he lacked a complete understanding of the intricate mechanics involved. With determination to solve the mysteries of his space-time jutsu in this strange world, Sasuke decided he will find any existing techniques related to space-time in this world power system. He expected this method to improve his understanding of space-time. With his training complete for the day, Sasuke took a moment to catch his breath, gazing at the remnants of his fireball and the lingering lightning chakra nature in his hand. The path to returning home was uncertain, but he knew that in order to find his way back, he needed to gain knowledge about the powerhouses of this world. Sasuke sought solace under the shade of a tree, his gaze fixed on the horizon as the gentle breeze rustled through his raven-black hair. With a deep breath, he couldn't help but yearn for the comfort of his family, whose absence weighed heavily on his heart. His voice carried softly on the wind as he spoke to the empty air, longing for the presence of his parents. His face contorted with a mixture of sorrow and frustration, Sasuke contemplated his uncertain future. Returning to Konoha seemed to offer little solace or purpose. He clenched his fists, as he made a solemn promise to himself. I will focus on finding a way back home, and when that time comes, I will make my decision of my future. Until then, I need to face whatever obstacle this world have. Yasaka stood at the entrance of the training ground, her eyes fixed on Sasuke as he sat beneath the tree. The sight of him, his hair gently swaying in the wind, stirred a warmth within her. However, her joy quickly gave way to a tinge of sadness as she overheard his heartfelt words. His longing for his family and the uncertainty towards his future tugged at her heartstrings. A blush crept up Yasaka's cheeks as she watched Sasuke, yearning to comfort him, to understand him on a deeper level. But the walls he had erected around himself were palpable, creating an impossible barrier. It hurt her to see someone carry such burdens alone, to see the sadness etched across his face while having thick walls preventing others from approaching him. Yasaka silently wished for a way to bridge the gap between them, to offer him comfort and support. She yearned to be someone he could confide in, to be the one who could help ease his sorrow. Yet, she understood that it would take time, patience, and trust to unravel the layers that surrounded Sasuke's heart. Yasaka acknowledged that using seduction as a means to connect with Sasuke would be futile. She recognized that he was different from other men, not driven by base desires or easily swayed by superficial charms. She had no intention of being perceived as a woman who resorted to using her body to gain his attention. Instead, she made a silent promise to herself. Yasaka vowed to reveal more of her genuine emotions and interests to Sasuke. She understood that true connection required sincerity and genuineness. Rather than relying on seduction, she would focus on showing him her true self, hoping that through sincere expressions of care and understanding, she could break down the barriers that guarded his heart. Yasaka approached Sasuke with a smile. "Sasuke-kun, I have prepared lunch. Are you done with your training?" Her cheerful tone resonated through her words. Sasuke's eyes were drawn to Yasaka, captivated by the sight of her amidst the gentle breeze and the warm sunlight emphasizing her blonde hair. For a brief moment, he found himself lost in her presence. Breaking his trance, he responded, "I have completed my training and adapted to using only one arm." Rising from his position, he followed Yasaka back to her home. After enjoying lunch with Yasaka, suddenly Sasuke's heightened senses alerted him to the presence of an individual whose strength rivaled that of Madara and Hashirama. A sense of familiarity washed over him. Somehow they seemed connected to me, he thought. Sensing their presence, he realized this person was with Yasaka when he arrived to this world. Sasuke decided to remain vigilant, as this person's strength was strong. He knew it was better to be prepared in case they posed a threat to him. As the person entered the room, Sasuke's attention sharpened. A woman with ebony hair and adorned in a crimson dress adorned with intricate golden engravings and jewelry came into view. Her golden eyes gleamed, mirroring the radiant rays of sunlight that seemingly crowned her. Drawing closer, Sasuke's realization of the connection intensified, offering a glimmer of hope that she might hold the key to his journey back home. However, before forming any conclusions, he needed to assess whether she was a friend or a foe. Suddenly, the woman's words shattered Sasuke's thoughts, breaking the silence as she greeted him, "Welcome, foreigner, to our world. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure." Chapter 7, Sasuke's Power. Upon hearing the woman's words, Sasuke's instincts kicked in, and he swiftly took action. Activating his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, his eyes spun with intensity, emanating a powerful pressure. Channeling his chakra, Sasuke unleashed a surge of chakra reminiscent of Hashirama and Tobirama's prowess the first time he met them. Even the remnants of the Six Paths power within him surged forth. A/N, Naruto Wikis explaining Six Path powers is really confusing, as I want Sasuke to grow the Six Path chakra reserves he received. Apparently they have Six Path chakra, Senjutsu power and Yin and Yang power. I always thought everything stemmed from Sasuke's Six Path chakra. A radiant purple aura expanded around Sasuke, enveloping him in an imposing display. Fixing a stern gaze upon the unknown woman, he maintained a cool, emotionless demeanor. As he laughed, he acknowledged the troubles of this new world, realizing its parallels to his own. "And what do you intend to do with this information?" he questioned, his voice devoid of emotion. With each passing moment, the pressure exerted by Sasuke intensified. Yasuka's home trembled, quaking under the weight of the overwhelming power. The surrounding area shook, causing Yasuka to gasp for breath as she fell to the ground, unable to move under the immense pressure. The unknown woman, astonished by the sheer potency of the young boy's power, struggled to release her own divinity in response. However, the might of Sasuke's presence far surpassed her own, leaving her almost on the brink of defeat. "Will you not answer? I can extract information without uttering a word, but I am granting you the chance to speak. Are you here to harm my world?" Sasuke calmly stepped forward, locking eyes with the woman, his Sharingan spinning with fervor, ready to delve into her mind and trap her within a genjutsu. "I do not harbor intentions to cause harm to your world," the lady confessed, her voice tinged with nervousness. Standing before Sasuke, she sensed the immense power he possessed, second only to a few beings of even greater strength. Aware that a confrontation in her territory could bring about devastating consequences, she spoke cautiously, hoping to avoid any unnecessary conflict that could potentially obliterate Japan and its surroundings. Drawing on her observations and the inexplicable connection she felt towards Sasuke, she continued, her confidence gradually rising. "I am aware that you are not native to this world. The moment you entered, I sensed your presence nearby. Your foreign aura and the connection I feel toward you are clear indicators of your extraterrestrial origins," she stated firmly. The atmosphere in the room grew heavy with tension as the two individuals stood face to face, each wary of the other's intentions. Uncertainty and unease hung in the air, while the potential for a clash of tremendous power loomed ominously. Sasuke observed Yasuka struggling under the weight of his oppressive presence. He experienced a twinge of guilt, recognizing the discomfort he was causing her, but he knew that prioritizing his own survival was necessary. "Yasuka, were you aware that I am not from this world?" Sasuke inquired, gradually easing the intensity of his aura around her. As the pressure began to dissipate, Yasuka took deep breaths in an effort to steady herself. She was taken aback by Sasuke's overwhelming power, and although she should have felt fear or animosity towards him, she found herself unable to harbor such emotions. With honesty in her voice, she replied, "No, Sasuke. This is the first time I am learning about your origins. I was only present when you first arrived here." Sasuke decided to release the intense pressure he had been exerting. He settled into a chair, crossing his legs and resting his chin on his hand. The room was filled with tension, with Sasuke's powerful presence resembling that of a ruler. He contemplated the situation, particularly the connections he felt with the woman before him. "What is your name?" Sasuke inquired. "I am Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun and the chief deity of the Shinto pantheon," the woman confidently replied. Sasuke couldn't help but recall Kaguya, who sought to transform the world into mindless beings. "The previous goddess I met sought to control the people in my world into mindless puppets. Are you an enemy to humanity?" Sasuke asked, his interest piqued. "No, not at all. Humans are our primary source of strength, and their beliefs empower us. We no longer interfere with human affairs. We have reached an agreement that humanity no longer requires our intervention," she quickly clarified. Upon hearing the woman mention "we," Sasuke realized that this world was clearly different from his previous one. The golden hue emitting from her indicated that she was not an evil presence. Sasuke considered the possibility that she might be able to assist him in finding a way back home. With curiosity, he asked, "When you say we, do others in your pantheon know about my arrival?" "No, only I am aware of your presence here, but they may be a few strong beings who noticed your arrival. Revealing your existence could lead to panic, particularly due to your formidable strength. However, I'm curious about the similarities between your slight divine power and that of our pantheon, especially your eyes," she responded. Sasuke was prepared for this question, as he had already noticed the resemblance between his Mangekyo Sharingan and the goddess Amaterasu, who shared the same name as his ocular ability. "Perhaps it's time to clarify this aspect, as I possess various other abilities. It should not be a problem," Sasuke thought to himself, carefully considering how to build trust with this person. With determination, he proposed, "Follow me to the training ground." Sasuke swiftly employed his body flicker technique and vanished, reappearing at the training ground without hesitation. In the training ground, Sasuke pondered his next move, realizing that building trust with these individuals could prove advantageous. He formulated a plan to offer his services to them in exchange for gaining deeper insights and information about this world, particularly its power system. A/N, I read on VS Battles Sasuke has strength equivalent of 5B tier. It also says that Off-Eyes and Great Red are 6B, possibly 5B, which means Sasuke has attack prowess at planet level similar to them. Do you guys have any problem with Sasuke's strength being like that and even stronger in the future? Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 8, Amaterasu. A minute later, Yasaka and Amaterasu joined Sasuke in the training ground. Sasuke nodded in acknowledgement as he prepared to demonstrate the connection between his eyes and their abilities. Focusing his gaze on a nearby tree, Sasuke closed his left eye and gathered chakra. This allows him to cast Amaterasu even though it now housed the Rinnegan he got from the Sage of Six Paths. With a swift motion, he reopened his eyes, and his Rinnegan radiated a brilliant glow. Uttering the name Amaterasu in a detached tone, Sasuke harnessed the power contained within his eyes. From his piercing gaze, an otherworldly phenomenon ensued. Jet-black flames surged forth, propelled by an inhuman speed, it traveled towards the tree. Upon contact with the tree, the pitch-black flames erupted in a torrential blaze, casting an overwhelming heat that engulfed its surroundings. The inferno intensified without any sign of stopping, consuming the tree's form and reducing it to mere ashes. Yet, the flames refused to be quelled, persisting relentlessly upon the ground with an unyielding vigor, as if defying the very concept of extinction. Sasuke turned his gaze towards Amaterasu, noting her recognition of the connection emanating from the flames he had created. He explained to her the nature of the black flames, emphasizing their relentless burning and their resistance to extinguishment unless he willed it so. Amaterasu, intrigued by the familiarity of the flames, attempted to exert her control over them, but her efforts proved futile as she barely controlled it. She realized that suppressing the flames would require a substantial expenditure of her own divinity. Observing this exchange, Amaterasu recognized Sasuke's intriguing potential and pondered the prospect of him becoming an ally to her pantheon. Her initial concerns about him posing a threat to Japan seemed to subside, especially as she noticed Yasaka's enamored expression towards Sasuke. Assured that Sasuke's intentions were directed more towards understanding this new world, Amaterasu resolved to provide him with the information he sought, as a gesture of goodwill and a step towards fostering cooperation. Amaterasu acknowledged the connection between Sasuke and her pantheon, recognizing the existence of not only the black flames but also the purple avatar he had manifested upon his arrival. She assured him and said, "Yasaka, my Miko, would be available to offer assistance and serve as a point of contact whenever you need anything." Sasuke reciprocated the nod, and replied expressing his desire, "I hope my true origin will remain undisclosed." He also conveyed his willingness to lend aid and emphasized, "If there is a significant threat within my capabilities, I will do my best to provide assistance." Amaterasu expressed her gratitude and reassured Sasuke, "I would not reveal your information. If anyone inquired about our connection, I would explain that you are an ally who had been raised secretly by Yasaka since you was young." Sasuke realized that this was a good idea and agreed to maintain the story. After Amaterasu left, Sasuke and Yasaka were left in silence, with the lingering crackling sounds of the extinguished flames. Suddenly, Sasuke realized that he had forgotten to completely extinguish the black flames, causing some loss of composure. He swiftly put out the remaining flames and surveyed the damage they had caused to a portion of the training ground. Cough, "I apologize for destroying your training ground, Yasaka. If you want, I can fix it for you," Sasuke said nervously. Yasaka smiled and reassured him, "Don't worry about that, Sasuke-kun. My people can take care of it." Sasuke nodded, relieved by her understanding. Sasuke decided to approach Yasaka, feeling a sense of closeness between them. Yasaka blushed as Sasuke came closer, admiring his cool demeanor when he summoned the black flames and the powerful pressure he emitted. "I apologize for my earlier outburst and the pressure you felt. I hope you didn't sustain any injuries. As an apology, you can ask for something you want," Sasuke said sincerely, scanning Yasaka's body to ensure she wasn't hurt, though in a non-intrusive manner. Yasaka was deeply touched by his consideration and smiled at him. "Well, I hope you can stay at my home for the rest of your time here. I'll continue to cook for you," Yasaka suggested. Sasuke chuckled at her comment and replied, "Okay, Yasaka, I'll be in your care," as he playfully poked her forehead with 2 fingers. He then walked away and returned to the house. Yasaka felt his touch on her forehead and placed her hand over it, feeling the lingering warmth. She blushed and thought to herself, "Oh, Sasuke, what are you doing to me?" It was a new experience for Yasaka to be on the receiving end of such teasing, but she found it surprisingly pleasant. She liked the way Sasuke made her feel with his gentle touch. Yasaka giggled softly as she made her way back to her home. However, a tinge of sadness crept into her thoughts, knowing that Sasuke would eventually leave if he found a way back to his own world. Despite the short time they had spent together, she had come to appreciate his presence and found him to be different from others. Deep down, she desired for Sasuke to stay in her world and share his burdens with her. She understood that it wouldn't be right to manipulate his decision, but she was determined to make him feel comfortable and happy during his time there. She felt a sense of selfishness in wanting him to choose her world over his own, yet her desire to be something more with Sasuke outweighed those concerns. As Yasaka continued to ponder her feelings, she couldn't help but wonder if Sasuke felt the same way. Was he also struggling with the decision to stay or go? Or was he simply enjoying his time in this new world without any attachment? Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 9, Chapter 9, Information is Key. A month had passed since Sasuke's meeting with Amaterasu. Sasuke had initially concentrated solely on training to protect himself from hidden dangers. He needed to get used to his new fighting style, so he practiced one-handed seals as well as relearning kenjutsu. In a cozy library adorned with books and scrolls, Sasuke immersed himself in research. Using his shadow clones to gather information discreetly, he explored Japan in various disguises while his main body remained in the library, engrossed in studying the power system and notable figures of this world. Through his diligent efforts, Sasuke discovered that this world was comprised of multiple countries, each governed by its own pantheon. To his surprise, he learned that not all of these deities were bad, contrary to his initial assumptions. As he delved deeper into the history and lore, Sasuke found himself particularly captivated by the biblical pantheon, which he discovered was divided into 3 distinct factions. Sasuke came to the realization that a Cold War had been ongoing in this world since the last Great War. He understood that conflict was inevitable regardless of the world. Interestingly, even the 2 strongest beings refrained from direct interference in worldly affairs. As he delved deeper into his research, Sasuke discovered the nuanced dynamics between the factions of the biblical pantheon. He observed that the angels, contrary to his initial assumptions, were aligned with the cause of guiding and protecting humanity. However, to his dismay, he discovered that the humans who served the church had become corrupted. Sasuke found it suspicious as the biblical God would have rectified it. The fallen angels, in particular, irked him with their tendency for succumbing to their sinful nature, including the unwarranted killing of humans possessing sacred gears. The devils, on the other hand, stirred a deep disgust within Sasuke. He found their peerage system, which resembled a form of slavery, to be revolting. It troubled him greatly to learn that the devils forced humans and yokai to become members of their peerage. This abuse of power angered Sasuke, as he questioned why the other pantheons did not unite to eradicate the devils, who not only stole believers but also exploited sacred gear users. One of the most intriguing aspects Sasuke discovered was the existence of the Gods Summit event that took place every 20 years. This event showcased the top strongest beings in all realms gathering together and showcasing their respective pantheon strengths, leaving Sasuke curious about his own ranking. Even Amaterasu had acknowledged that he surpassed her in power. However, Sasuke realized that the top 3 Shiva, Yokais, and Great Red, might have already known about his arrival. He was unaware of their abilities, but they appear to be on par with Kagaya's. So far, Sasuke has not sensed anyone spying on him and no one has contacted him besides Amaterasu about his arrival. Having finished reading a book on space-time magic, Sasuke contemplated the nature of magic in this world. He realized that magic could be harnessed by utilizing mana, a spiritual energy to chakra. Luckily, chakra was made from the combination of physical and spiritual energy. Not everyone possessed mana, just as not everyone possessed chakra. Understanding this, Sasuke saw learning magic as a potential path towards finding a way back to his own world. However, despite his efforts, Sasuke found himself unable to open a portal back home using his Rinnegan. It seemed as though he was either blocked or in an entirely new universe, encased within impenetrable barriers. Sasuke speculated that the dimensional gap might hold some answers, and once he acquired knowledge in magic, he resolved to investigate this phenomenon further. After deciding to pursue magic, Sasuke turned his attention to enhancing his chakra but also becoming proficient in all elements. His Rinnegan gave him affinity to all chakra natures. However, he expressed frustration towards the Sage of the Six Paths for being stingy with the Six-Path chakra, as most of it had been used to seal Kagaya, leaving Sasuke with only a small amount. He sensed that this chakra had a distinct otherworldly aura compared to his own. Sasuke devised a plan to combine his own chakra with the remaining Six-Path chakra in order to increase its potency. He also intended to learn senjutsu, a technique for harnessing natural energy, and he intended to seek advice from Yasaka on this matter. As a chakra wielder, Sasuke assumed that learning senjutsu would be relatively easy for him, but the cursed mark he had contained natural energy, meaning that he had some prior experience with it. He was aware that Naruto could fly with six-path senjutsu as well as use truth-seeking orbs. Sasuke was unsure whether the inheritance bestowed upon him by the sage he will be able to use that form of senjutsu. Sasuke knew Naruto's inheritance was six-path yang power. Maybe Hashirama cells will fix that problem, but having my arm back is a plus, Sasuke reasoned. Furthermore, Sasuke discovered information about phoenix tears, which possessed powerful healing properties. He resolved to find a way to obtain them to heal his arm, but he acknowledged that he would first need a prosthetic arm made of Hashirama cells as he no longer possessed his original one, so the tears cannot heal him without it. As Yasaka entered the library, Sasuke's face showed a small smile. He had grown to truly appreciate Yasaka's presence during their time together. Despite being the leader of the West Yokai faction, she always made time to be with him and take care of him. During their interactions, Sasuke came to recognize Yasaka as a highly capable leader who genuinely cared for her people. This contrasted with his memories of the third Hokage. Sasuke felt frustrated with the old man, considering him too lenient and allowing various issues to go unresolved. He even recalled the attempted assassination by Danzo and the third Hokage's lack of action. Sasuke believed that his own father, who competed along with the fourth Hokage for the seat, possessed the strength and reputation necessary to lead the village. However, Sasuke had already come to terms with the fact that Konoha was no longer his home. He planned to secretly visit Naruto, in the future, making sure to keep his presence hidden. In the meantime, his focus remained on finding a way back to his original dimension. Sasuke-kun, have you found the information you were looking for? Yasaka asked, taking a seat beside him at the table. Sasuke nodded, replying, yes, I've realized that learning magic should be my first priority. Yasaka then suggested, with a hint of shyness, Sasuke, you've been confined to this room for a month. Would you like to explore Kyoto with me? Sasuke considered her offer, recognizing the importance of getting some fresh air before he delved into studying magic. That sounds like a good idea. Tomorrow, I'll begin my magic training, so today will be a nice break, he agreed, accepting Yasaka's invitation. Yasaka couldn't help but smile affectionately, feeling happy that Sasuke wanted to explore her city with her. She eagerly looked forward to showing him all the attractions and sharing memorable experiences together. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 10, 6 months later. Yasaka and Sasuke could be seen walking through the bustling streets of Kyoto, surrounded by a crowd of people. Sasuke, not particularly fond of crowded places, decided to go along with it for Yasaka's sake. They explored numerous stalls filled with delicious treats that reminded Sasuke of home. I'm sorry, Sasuke. I didn't realize you dislike crowded places, Yasaka said with a hint of sadness, noticing his discomfort. Sasuke reassured her, don't worry, Yasaka. I enjoyed trying the different delicacies and spending time with you. Eventually, they found their way to a quieter area and settled down on a bench next to each other, with Yasaka sitting close to Sasuke. They enjoyed the peaceful atmosphere, savoring the moment together. So, Sasuke, I see that you possess chakra. Does everyone in your world have it? Yasaka asked, her curiosity evident. Not everyone has chakra, but in our world, it is widely used by individuals known as shinobi, Sasuke replied, acknowledging her question. Can you tell me more about your world, Sasuke? If you're comfortable sharing, Yasaka inquired, hoping to lighten his burden even just a little. Sasuke was uncertain about how to respond since he wasn't particularly fond of discussing his world. Letting out a sigh, he reluctantly began, "Well, my world consists of various villages, with the main 5 known as the Great Villages. I came from Konohagakure, located in the Land of Fire. It's essentially a militarized village led by the Hokage, our village's leader. However, despite our village's strength, it is still dependent on the daimyo of the Land of Fire. The same could be said for the other villages." Yasaka's curiosity continued, "And what about your family, Sasuke?" Sasuke's face lost all emotions and hesitated before replying, "They are all dead. My clan was annihilated by my own brother to save me. I am the sole survivor." Yasaka was taken aback by his response, never expecting such a tragic revelation. Tears welled up in her eyes as she apologized, "I'm so sorry, Sasuke. I didn't mean to bring up those painful memories." Yasaka was taken aback by the depth of Sasuke's troubled past, which filled her with compassion. She reached out and clasped his hand in a touching gesture. Sasuke smiled calmly as he appreciated Yasaka's genuine kindness. They sat on the bench in silence, their connection unsaid but deeply felt. As time passed, Yasaka found solace in leaning her head against Sasuke's shoulder, seeking security in his presence. The gentle touch of their closeness created a comforting atmosphere, and Yasaka couldn't help but feel a profound sense of protection and peace in Sasuke's company. After taking a necessary break, 6 months quickly passed and Sasuke has now turned 18. He dedicated himself to learning magic in the months. Utilizing his Sharingan, he delved into scrolls and books, acquiring knowledge of magic elemental manipulation. However, his main focus was on space-time magic due to his heightened affinity for it with the Rinnegan. Understanding the principles of space came naturally to him. The incorporation of space magic greatly benefited Sasuke, as he could now utilize Amenotachakara with less chakra consumption. Teleporting himself or others over vast distances became feasible, and he even discovered the ability to swap individuals with objects without endangering himself. While Sasuke predominantly leaned towards his chakra nature transformation, he still dedicated time to learning lightning and fire magic. However, the troubling matter of returning home persisted in his thoughts. Sasuke concluded that his 6 paths chakra and the dimensional gap held the key to finding a way back to his world. In Yasaka's office, Sasuke and Yasaka sat across from each other, their bond of friendship growing stronger with each passing day. Sasuke spoke up, expressing his desire, "Yasaka, by chance, are there any rogue fallen angels or stray devils causing trouble?" Being cooped up really took a toll on his mental state, he needed action, to test his new fighting style. Yasaka's face lit up with joy and relief. "Thank you very much, Sasuke. Your assistance will be greatly appreciated. We've noticed an increase in rouge beings around Kyoto. Managing all of these cases has been difficult. Nonetheless, we have located a group formed conceit to one another, maybe they are allies." Sasuke listened attentively as this would be his first real fight. "Do we know their strengths?" Yasaka nodded, her expression serious. "Their leader possesses ultimate class strength and is accompanied by a few high-class beings. The main issue is that rouge ultimate class beings are rare, making handling the situation difficult for my people." Sasuke nodded, agreeing with this Yasaka analysis. An ultimate class being going rouge was rare in this world. At most, they will be low or middle class strength, but they were usually quickly eliminated by their respective pantheons. Since arriving in this world, he has had to familiarize himself with the strength ranking system and also compare it to his own. Sasuke has concluded that ultimate class beings were at most an elite jonin. He knew his strength far exceeded Kage and even Super Kage levels, but a fight was a fight, and he should not underestimate them. For example, Yasaka was an ultimate class being, but with the ley line she was connected to she was at most mid-Kage level. With a better understanding of Yasaka's situation, Sasuke decided it was best to eliminate them as soon as possible. "I'll handle this for you, Yasaka, just tell me where they are right now. We don't want them to leave." Yasaka was relieved Sasuke would handle the situation because she knew only she could handle the group. However, if she abandons her position as the leader of the West Yokai faction, their enemies will be able to attack. She couldn't help but smile when she thought about how much she relied on Sasuke. Yasaka grabbed Sasuke's hand and said, "Thank you, I know you are strong, but promise me you'll return safely. Your well-being is very important to me." Touched by her concern, Sasuke decided to offer reassurance. He playfully poked Yasaka's forehead with 2 fingers and said, "Thank you. I'll be back, I promise." Yasaka responded with a fake frustration, saying, "You really need to stop doing that." Though she secretly cherished the gesture and couldn't help but place her hand on her forehead, smiling warmly. "Be safe," she whispered. As Sasuke flickered away, he couldn't help but blush slightly, realizing he had imitated his brother's actions. "Yasaka, you're truly something else," he murmured to himself. In that moment, he realized that leaving this world would be difficult without her. During his time here, he had experienced emotions that he had lost since the massacre. It reminded him of the void left by his family's absence. However, a new thought began to form in his mind, a flicker of hope that perhaps he could change that now, that he could find a way to revive his family. /N, expect an extra chapter today of Sasuke's first fight in this world. I will also create a chapter of power levels between Naruto and DxD. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 11, First Fight. In an abandoned shipyard, bathed in the eerie glow of the moon, Sasuke stood in quiet contemplation. His eyes, one radiant red and the other a shade of purple, surveyed the surroundings with a piercing gaze. The shipyard resonated with the rhythmic crash of ocean waves against the sturdy concrete walls and weathered ships. The salty breeze swept through the area, causing the worn metal structures to emit gentle creaks and groans. Sasuke swiftly and stealthily made his way through the shipyard under the cover of darkness. With his adept use of shadows, he remained undetected by any beings present. As he approached one of the abandoned buildings, he entered carefully. Sasuke analyzed the situation in front of him, drawing upon the information provided by Yasaka. As Sasuke was inside the building, he heard voices. Specifically, the voices of multiple individuals engaged in heated arguments, piquing his curiosity even further. Sasuke perched himself atop one of the railings, finding a perfect vantage point to observe and eavesdrop on the group. Before him stood countless heavily guarded containers, protected by a multitude of magical spells. They were also a group of devils and fallen angels. It puzzled him that devils would form an alliance with fallen angels, as both races were known for their arrogance and mutual disdain. There had to be more to this than meets the eye. As he listened, memories of past missions with Team 7 flooded Sasuke's mind, reflecting on how even simple tasks had a tendency to escalate. TCH, this reminds me of missions with Team 7, a simple C-rank mission turned into an A rank. What kind of luck do I have? Sasuke thought as he complained about his luck. He focused his attention on the ongoing argument among the individuals before him. We can steal everything and go into hiding. It is as easy as that. Sasuke overheard what a fallen angel said. No. Are you an idiot? Said a devil, objecting to the fallen angel's horrendous claim. Are you not a devil? Since when do you care about stealing? Do you know how rich we can get selling the items in the black market? The same fallen angel said. Stop your foolishness, you crow. Did you forget what kind of organization we are part of? We will be dead in a week if we steal from them, the devil replied. Sasuke, who was listening attentively, suddenly felt a pressure emanate. The fallen angel and devil's bodies fell to the ground, gasping for breath. Enough! I am the leader here, yet you are making idiotic statements, a commanding voice said. Suddenly, footsteps could be heard as a middle-aged man came out of the shadows. He glared at them both with disgust and arrogance. "We will complete the mission, any opposition, and your head will be flying," he yelled. They bowed in unison and yelled in fear, "Yes, Sir Victor." Sasuke was observing carefully and thought, "Interesting, it seems this Victor guy is the leader." He then sensed the guy's strength and thought, "A high-class devil in status with ultimate class strength." Sasuke recalled some important information and thought, "It seems he must be from the old Satan faction. A devil is still a devil. Disposing of him is the best course of action." Sasuke looked around the room and scanned. 10 individuals were present in total. 5 of them were middle class, 4 were high class, and 1 possessed the ultimate rank. "I will eliminate them all and bring the leader to Yasaka. Information about his group will be useful to her." Sasuke activated his normal Sharingan, and 3 tomos spun rapidly. A small smile crept on Sasuke, he was looking forward to his fight. Sasuke summoned Kusanagi from his scroll and got ready to strike down these clowns. Without warning, Sasuke disappeared in a flicker and reappeared behind one of the high-class individuals. With his sword in his hand, in a single fluid motion, he decapitated the person cleanly. Continuing his momentum and leaving no room for retaliation, he flickered to another high-class individual, beheading him again. In less than 5 seconds, 2 high-class individuals' heads fell to the ground. With a thud sound, the leader became alert and shouted arrogantly, "Attack him, quickly, you useless idiots!" Sasuke, hearing the guy's commands, thought, it is best to eliminate another high class first. Quickly, Sasuke threw his Kyuzangi at lightning speed towards the leader. At the same time, without a second passing, Sasuke sent chakra to the seals wrapped around his arm and summoned a kunao. The kunao was strapped with an explosive tag. With his Sharingan still active, Sasuke skillfully threw it with an ear-piercing screech as it flew quickly in the air into another high class and exploded. With his sword still in motion, Sasuke activated his Rinnegan and changed places with Kusanagi. Appearing in front of the leader, Sasuke imbued chakra in his legs. With one foot on the ground as an anchor, Sasuke spun and did a roundhouse kick straight into the leader's head, sending him flying back. As he was about to deliver the final blow to Victor and knock him unconscious, he was intercepted by the middle-class beings. They were all panicking after seeing him quickly eliminate their comrades. "Who are you?" one of the fallen angels asked. "Just kill him, he's a weak human," a devil replied in arrogance. Sasuke, now surrounded by his opponents, channeled lightning chakra into his hand and did Chidori stream. Lightning surged from his hands and crackled, spreading through the ground and shocking his enemies, rendering them paralyzed. Seizing the opportunity, Sasuke swiftly dispatched one of them with a fatal strike to the heart with another kunao. Suddenly, he sensed a spear of holy energy hurtling towards him, and Sasuke's smile widened. Activating a Menotashikara, he swapped places with the nearest person, an unfortunate devil who met his demise from the holy energy. Without hesitation, Sasuke advanced towards the remaining 3 middle-class opponents. His Sharingan spun rapidly, ensnaring them in a powerful genjutsu. Gathering lightning in his hands, he unleashed a concentrated attack. Chidori Spear. A blue bolt of lightning shot from Sasuke's hand, piercing the heart of one enemy, causing them to cough up blood. Skillfully infusing more lightning chakra, 2 additional lightning spears branched out from the main one, impaling the other 2 enemies swiftly and silently while they remained trapped in the genjutsu. Sasuke made his way to Kyuzangi and stored it. He leisurely made his way to Victor, who had another person next to him, precisely the final high-class being in the group. "Theo, deal with him." "I need to catch my breath," said Victor while gasping for breath. He was clutching his skull, which was bleeding profusely. Theo nodded to his leader, activated his 3 pairs of wings, and dashed towards Sasuke. "Tch, bastard could fly." "How lucky," Sasuke said, clicking his tongue. Theo made his way to Sasuke and began to channel demonic energy through a magic circle forming in front of him. Sasuke, seeing the guy drawing nearer to him, thought evilly. Sasuke faced his palm towards Theo and muttered, "All might push." An invisible gravitational force erupted from Sasuke's hand, targeting Theology suddenly. Theo was hurled back straight into one of the containers and crashed. Sasuke jumped in the air, did a one-handed seal, and said, "Fire release, great fireball justo." A colossal ball of raging flames burst forth from Sasuke's mouth, hurtling towards Theo with unforgiving intensity. The searing heat consumed Theo's body, his agonized screams filling the air as he was engulfed in the inferno. The overwhelming pain eventually rendered him unconscious, his charred form collapsing to the ground. Sasuke was now in front of the leader, who had fear evident in his face. Victor knew this guy's strength was at least Satan class. He cursed his luck for encountering such a formidable opponent. "What do you want? Do you want to oppose the organization I work for?" the leader yelled, frightened. Sasuke chuckled, "I am just cleaning up the trash." Sasuke then activated his Rinnegan, gazing into the eyes of Victor. He activated a powerful genjutsu using his Rinnegan and trapped the guy in a genjutsu similar to what he did to Sakura. Sasuke's eyes widened, and thought, "I hope she moves on from me." Sasuke wanted to facepalm, he dreaded entering Konoha and seeing his old teammate. "She was more of a sister figure to me. Even Naruto saw her as a sister figure," he muttered. Sasuke looked at Victor's body twitching on the ground and said, "He has such low mental strength. I just kicked him in the head, and he practically gave up. Also, it is just a fake version of a Takatsuki I created on a whim, yet he already wants to kill himself." Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story, Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 12, Inspecting Containers. Sasuke stood over Victor's unconscious body emotionlessly and thought, "I should probably check the containers they were protecting before contacting Yasaka." He knew from the earlier conversation he had eavesdropped on that they were most likely supernatural items. Sasuke made his way to one of the main containers and scrutinized the defenses they utilized. Upon closer inspection, he realized they were quite formidable. Sasuke chuckled and mused, "These feeble enchantments are too weak for someone like me." Stepping back a few paces, Sasuke extended his palm towards the container's door. Uttering the words, "Almighty pull," an invisible force surged forth, causing the door to creak and strain against its confinement. Eventually, it yielded to the force and broke away from the container. Sasuke swiftly leaped out of harm's way, avoiding any potential impact. Sasuke landed gracefully back on the ground and made his way to the now open container. He saw many wooden crates piled up against one another. "Just to be safe, I should inspect the wooden crate for Yasaka," he thought, as he did not want Yasaka to be in any danger if the items were harmful. With a kunai in his hand, Sasuke pried open the crates one by one, inspecting the items. He sighed as he looked at the various books and scrolls contained in the crate. "It seems my knowledge of this world is still too vague. All of these items are unrecognizable to me." As Sasuke continued to investigate the crates, he saw many weapons as well. "I have a bad feeling about this. These are clearly war preparation items. I will have to personally get information from Victor about who these items were prepared for. Most likely, by stopping these items from reaching their intended owner, I have delayed their plans." With one last crate to check, inside it revealed a small box adorned with a phoenix emblem. "Could this be what I think it is?" he muttered. To his surprise, Sasuke discovered something immensely valuable within the crate: phoenix tears. Held within a beautiful glass bottle, the liquid inside glowed with an enchanting orange hue. "Now, I just need an arm," Sasuke remarked, longing for the restoration of his missing limb. "I know Yasaka will not deny my asking to keep this," Sasuke thought. Sasuke began to channel his spiritual energy and create a magic circle near his ear. The circle glowed with a purple hue, bearing the Uchiha symbol at its center. "Yasaka, can you hear me?" Sasuke inquired, establishing a connection with Yasaka. With a concerned and anxious tone, Yasaka quickly responded, "Sasuke, are you all right? Are you injured? Should I come to you? I'll come quickly." Chuckling at her worried demeanor, Sasuke reassured her, "I've successfully completed the mission, but you can join me if you'd like." Relieved, Yasaka expressed her happiness, playfully assuming the role of a concerned wife. The group of rogues constituted fallen angels and devils. The leader was a high-class noble with ultimate class strength. "It seems the devils and fallen angels are getting daring and entering my territory," Yasaka said in scorn. "They were protecting containers heavily guarded with enchantments. They even had phoenix tears." Sasuke replied, amused at Yasaka's reaction. "Can I keep the phoenix tears?" "You can keep anything you want, Sasuke. You have helped me tremendously in eliminating this group. I hope I can repay you in some way," she genuinely said. "Thank you," Sasuke said while he made his way around the corpses of the people he killed. He went to each body and burned it with Amaterasu. "I have destroyed all their bodies beside Victor, as I plan to extract information from him," he told Yasaka, as he hoped the organization Victor was a part of was not targeting her. "Can you arrange a team to handle the containers?" he asked. While Sasuke waited patiently, approximately 15 minutes later, a teleportation circle materialized. Yasaka emerged from the magical portal, her majestic 9 tails fully displayed. Before Sasuke could react, he suddenly felt the sensation of his face being squished between 2 marshmallows. Yasaka, brimming with joy, exclaimed, "I'm so happy you're not injured, Sasuke." In a swift blur, Yasaka dashed toward Sasuke and tightly embraced him. Sasuke, taken aback and perplexed, tried to comprehend the situation. His thoughts became muddled as he was enveloped in a sweet aroma and surrounded by softness. It suddenly dawned on him, and he attempted to speak, but his words came out as muffled murmurs, drowned out by Yasaka's ample bosom. Unaware of Sasuke's attempt to communicate, Yasaka remained blissfully in her own world, reveling in the embrace as her fluffy 9-tail bobbed in excitement. After a few minutes, she finally released Sasuke. Gasping for air, Sasuke stared at Yasaka, who was now blushing with embarrassment, realizing the unintended consequences of her actions. "Sigh, that actually felt really good," Sasuke admitted, suppressing his perverted thoughts and opting not to bring it up. "I can't deny it. I wish to experience that again." Curiosity sparked within Sasuke as he inquired about the team. He hoped that no one had witnessed the embarrassing scene that just unfolded. Yasaka, still flustered, muttered softly in response, "I instructed them to arrive 30 minutes after my appearance. I wanted to spend some alone time with you." Hearing Yasaka's words, Sasuke couldn't help but feel touched. In that moment, Sasuke stared at Yasaka, who was blushing. This wasn't the first time someone had expressed affection for him, but with Yasaka, it felt different. "Do I feel the same for Yasaka?" he pondered. Uncertain about what to do, he found himself at a crossroads. If he were to return to his own world, he knew it would break Yasaka's heart. The mere thought of seeing Yasaka in tears as he departed pained him deeply. It was at this moment that Sasuke understood what he truly desired to experience, the sense of family he once had. Sasuke decided it was better to take the initiative and not ignore Yasaka's feelings for him. He gazed into Yasaka's eyes and said, "Yasaka, there's something I need to tell you. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story, Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 13, Chapter 13, What is Love?" Yasaka, still lost in her own world, heard the seriousness in Sasuke's voice as he mentioned wanting to tell her something. Instantly, a wave of wariness washed over her, and her mind raced with negative thoughts. Does he despise me for hugging him? Does he think I'm an easy woman? Is he going to reject me? In that moment, Yasaka's mind became clouded with self-doubt. Throughout her life, she had never truly experienced love, often using her beauty to toy with and tease numerous men. She couldn't help but wonder if this was karma catching up to her. Sasuke, sensing Yasaka's inner turmoil, spoke with deliberate slowness, trying to find the right words to express himself. After a brief moment of silence, he continued, "Yasaka, I am someone who struggles to express my emotions. I have seen your love and affection for me over these months we met. It have made it even harder for me to contemplate returning to my own world." Tears welled up in Yasaka's eyes as she listened to the words she had hoped she wouldn't hear. Sasuke noticed Yasaka's tears and felt a surge of confusion. Why is she crying? I hope to bring our relationship closer, not drive us apart. Shit, I really have no clue how to express emotion and talk about it, Sasuke thought as half his life was spent trying to avenge his clan. He always thought having emotions was a weakness for him, so he cut his ties with Konoha. Yet, here I am struggling now to express it, he lamented. Concerned, he gently approached her and asked, "Yasaka, are you all right?" Yasaka, still sobbing, apologized, "I am sorry for being such a bad woman, Sasuke." Hearing her words, Sasuke's confusion deepened, and he urgently questioned, "What do you mean, Yasaka?" Yasaka, her voice trembling, replied with a raised voice, "You must think I'm a slut and find me annoying for being a tease." Sasuke here sank. How could she think like that? No, how could she think I will think like that, he thought in frustration. I cannot believe she thinks so little of herself, he thought. He grabbed Yasaka with his one arm around her waist and brought her closer to him. He stared at Yasaka in her eyes with some anger. "No, Yasaka," he vehemently acclaimed. "I am the one who is flawed, Yasaka. I am a rogue shinboy in my world. I betrayed my village, my friends. Heck, I even tried to kill my best friend multiple times," he confessed. Gazing into Yasaka's bright, golden eyes, he continued softly, a self-deprecating smile appearing on his face. "You are beautiful beyond measure, you are kind and caring, Yasaka. During these months, you have shown me a new side of myself. I don't deserve your love because I feel the same way about you. Someone like me does not deserve to be loved, as I cut off any emotions related to happiness. I only had one goal, which was revenge, and I did anything for power." "You are not a bad person, Sasuke," Yasaka reassured him. "You do not know me, Yasaka. Even the people who said they loved me, I used them as a tool," Sasuke said emotionlessly. "You may have made mistakes, but there must be reasons behind your actions, right?" she added with genuine concern. "Please, Sasuke, tell me about yourself. I want to know more about you. You are the first person I've ever fallen in love with, and I can sense that you are a good person," Yasaka said, determination gleaming in her eyes as she stared at Sasuke. Sasuke was taken aback by Yasaka's confession. A soft chuckle escaped his lips as he realized the significance of her presence in his life. "Haha, what would I do without this woman?" he thought to himself. Sasuke was moved by Yasaka's unwavering support for him, who looked for the best in people. He moved Yasaka closer to him and hugged her in a tight embrace. The warmth of her body against his and the softness of her touch brought him comfort. "Why, Yasaka? Why do you care so much about me?" Sasuke asked, confused. Yasaka smiled and confidently said, "Because I love you, Sasuke." Sasuke could only sigh and said, "I will share more about myself, Yasaka. And if you end up hating me for my past actions, I suppose I deserve it," Sasuke whispered into her ear with a mixture of vulnerability and affection. Yasaka's heart swelled with joy, and she reciprocated the hug with equal fervor. Nuzzling her head against his shoulder, she wrapped her arms around him, embracing him tightly. Her 9 tails encircled them both, creating a loving and protective cocoon. Sasuke couldn't help but enjoy the comforting sensation of Yasaka's tails wrapped around him. In that moment, he decided to treasure the connection he had with her, hoping that she wouldn't come to hate him for his troubled past. He recognized that this was the first step towards building a meaningful relationship with her, although he still questioned how he could truly make Yasaka happy given his own doubts about love and his ability to properly express it. He longed for Yasaka's acceptance and hoped that she would guide him in discovering his true self. Yasaka was elated to have found someone she could wholeheartedly love, and the way Sasuke held her in his arms filled her with joy and excitement. She understood that Sasuke's reluctance to open up stemmed from the deep wounds of his past, and was determined to heal him. While respecting Sasuke's desire to take things slowly, she also felt a strong urge to accelerate their relationship, longing to share a kiss with him in that very moment. She believed that Sasuke was her soulmate. A/N, can some reply all the power level in Naruto? I want to compare them with mine before I upload the chapter comparing DxD and Naruto power levels. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 14, Aftermath. Sasuke and Yasaka returned to their home, with Yasaka holding onto Sasuke's arm, finding comfort in the closeness between them. Before they reached home, they were met by Yasaka's team of skilled yokai, who had efficiently cleaned up the scene, erasing any traces of the recent fight. They also brought back the numerous containers that held the smuggled items. I will have to inform Amaterasu-sama about this situation as a group of rogues are targeting the Shinto pantheon, said Yasaka. She knew the Shinto pantheon was neutral in the supernatural world, but the fact that a group of rouges were able to easily smuggle war items was red flag. Sasuke nodded and thought, Amaterasu will most likely have a better idea of the group coming into her territory. Over these few months, Yasaka and her helped him settle in this world. Trusting her seems to be no problem now, as she will also be my key to reviving my family. Yasaka, it's best I extract Victor's memories before you contact Amaterasu. He will most likely have the name of the group he was a part of. Sasuke suggested. I know you are a capable leader. You must have already figured out that the original owner of these items' purpose are. As Yasaka's mood turned serious, she and Sasuke found themselves seated on a couch, with Yasaka resting her head on Sasuke's shoulder. Thanks, Sasuke, you are really helping me out so much. Sasuke replied smoothly, this was an agreement we made, but I am also happy to help you. However, Yasaka had another way to show her appreciation. She sat up straight and playfully offered Sasuke a lap pillow, tapping her thighs as an invitation. Sasuke was taken aback by the unexpected gesture and didn't quite know how to respond. With a simple sound of affirmation, "HN," he accepted Yasaka's offer. Yasaka giggled joyfully as Sasuke laid his head on her thighs. She began to stroke his hair, providing him comfort and enjoying their presence together. Sasuke, with his head resting on Yasaka's thigh, felt a deep sense of relaxation. Her thighs felt really soft. Do couples do these things? Sasuke thought that the sensation of Yasaka's fingers stroking his hair was incredibly soothing. However, he still had conflicting thoughts about Yasaka loving him back. Thoughts about Yasaka's feelings for him and the complexities of their relationship momentarily faded away. Sasuke surrendered himself to the comfort and tranquility of the moment, his body succumbing to a state of deep relaxation. As Sasuke's eyelids grew heavy, his body gradually let go of its ninja-trained vigilance. He found himself drifting into a peaceful slumber, guided by the gentle strokes from Yasaka. A serene smile graced Yasaka's face as she watched Sasuke's eyes close. Sweet dreams, Sasuke, she whispered, bringing her face closer to his and planting a tender kiss on his cheek. Following his actions, Yasaka, too, decided it was time to rest. With Sasuke by her side, they both peacefully drifted off to sleep, embracing the warmth and wholesomeness of their shared moment. ******. As the morning sun gently illuminated the room, Sasuke's eyes began to flutter open. Confusion washed over him as he realized he couldn't recall falling asleep. His gaze met Yasaka's face, adorned with a beautiful smile and her golden hair glowing in the sunlight. "Good morning, Sasuke," she greeted him in an adorable manner. Recalling the lap pillow he had received, Sasuke quickly got up and sat next to Yasaka, expressing his apologies for inconveniencing her. "I'm sorry for disturbing your sleep, Yasaka. I'm sure you didn't get much rest," he apologized sincerely. Yasaka couldn't help but giggle, well aware of Sasuke's limited understanding of romantic dynamics. "I had a wonderful night's sleep too, Sasuke. You don't need to worry. I enjoyed it just as much as you did," she reassured him with a mischievous wink. Blushing slightly in embarrassment, Sasuke acknowledged his own enjoyment of the experience. "Well, in any case, let me meet the captured leader as I anticipated," he insisted. However, Yasaka playfully wagged her finger from side to side. No, we have to have breakfast first," she interjected, emphasizing the importance of starting their day with a shared meal. After breakfast, in the dimly lit underground corridor, lined with fortified cells, Sasuke and Yasaka made their way towards a specific cell. The atmosphere was eerie, with only the flickering torches casting faint light on the stone walls. Each cell was heavily guarded by layers of magical spells, ensuring the prisoners had no chance of escape. These cells were designed to contain even the most powerful beings, capable of housing ultimate-class individuals. Inside one of the cells, Sasuke and Yasaka stood before the captured leader of the group they had apprehended. The man appeared lifeless, his face was dull and devoid of any signs of life or communication since their arrival. Sasuke, not caring about Victor's condition, made his way to him. He placed his hand on his head and activated one of his Rinnegan abilities. Harnessing the power of the human path, Sasuke focused his chakra and let it flow through his hand and into the man's consciousness. As he released his grip, a blue soul emerged from the man, accompanied by agonizing screams. Sasuke absorbed the soul, acquiring Victor's memories. With a thud, the lifeless body collapsed to the ground. Sasuke remained silent, his mind filled with the memories he had just obtained. Sasuke completed the process of absorbing the memories but felt a sense of disappointment as he sighed deeply. The information he obtained from the man's memories was minimal and of little use. Yasaka observed the entire ordeal in silence. Her previous knowledge of Sasuke's power did not prepare her for witnessing his soul-related ability. "I cannot wait to know about you, Sasuke," she thought affectionately. "Any useful information, Sasuke-kun?" asked Yasaka. But Sasuke had been creating many scenarios combining Victor's memories and correlating them to the containers. With a serious expression, he nodded as he deduced the organization's true objective. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 15, Answers. Sasuke and Yasaka entered her office and took their respective seats. Sasuke had an idea of the organization's goal after acquiring Victor's memory. Chaos Brigade, what a terrible name. At least Akatsuki sounds better and wishes for world peace, he thought, but couldn't help but laugh at the childish name sense. Chaos Brigade is the name of the organization Victor worked for, Sasuke spoke up first, ready to inform Yasaka of the details he acquired. Their goal, like their childish name sense, is ridiculous. Cause chaos around all supernatural realms. I see, so why were they smuggling items near Kyoto? Asked Yasaka, intrigued about their intentions to the Shinto pantheon. Victor's status in the organization was not that high. He was part of the old Satan faction within the organization and didn't have extensive knowledge of the other factions. Yasaka could only sigh at hearing the devils mentioned. Can these bats just stay in their caves? She mused. So the organization's goal is to disrupt alliances, particularly those formed by various pantheons, said Yasaka. Yes, their strength is the concern, though, Sasuke stated, emphasizing its seriousness. The organization boasted a considerable number of high-class and ultimate-class beings, along with numerous rogue magicians who were likely gaining benefits, Sasuke said, knowing how annoying this organization was going to be. If I cross paths with them, I might as well eliminate them. Since their focus is on bringing chaos, the chances of Kyoto or Japan being attacked are high, Sasuke stated seriously, conveying the potential threat they were facing. Yasaka let out a sigh, fully aware of the ridiculous motives driving the Chaos Brigade. I must inform Amaterasu-sama about this. As her Miko, it is crucial that she is aware, Yasaka said. Sasuke contemplated for a while and said, since Kyoto would most likely be attacked in the future, luckily we stalled for time and your faction can prepare. Yasaka recognized the significance of this revelation. Thank you, Sasuke, for providing us with this vital information. With it, we can make the necessary preparations and safeguard the safety of my people. She expressed her gratitude with sincerity. I would also like to speak with Amaterasu privately, said Sasuke, voicing his desire. I see, it will be no problem, you can join me when I talk to her, replied Yasaka, happily agreeing. She was overjoyed with the information and revelations. After several hours had passed since Sasuke and Yasaka's earlier conversation, Yasaka informed Sasuke that she was going to meet with Amaterasu. Sasuke took the opportunity to ponder the question he wanted to ask. I could use the outer path to resurrect my family, but I'll die unless I find a way around it. Amaterasu could definitely revive them once I use the reanimation jutsu and bring them to this world, he pondered. Inside a room, 3 individuals were present, Sasuke, Yasaka, and Amaterasu. Sasuke greeted the goddess of the sun, and she returned his greeting with a warm smile. Deciding to remain silent, Sasuke observed as Yasaka and Amaterasu discussed the information regarding the Chaos Brigade. Amaterasu assured Yasaka, I will provide aid if they were to launch an attack on Kyoto. Right now, there are ongoing discussions about alliances among various pantheons for the next Gods Summit. This organization sprouting out of nowhere is a concern. Once their discussion concluded, Amaterasu was informed that Sasuke had a question for her. Observing the interactions between Yasaka and Sasuke, Amaterasu smiled, secretly supporting their budding relationship. She recognized Sasuke's immense power and had her own concerns about it, but she was grateful that he had played a crucial role in informing them about the Chaos Brigade. Without his intervention, they might have been caught off guard and plunged into chaos, delaying any peace talks among the other pantheons. Yasaka sensed that Sasuke wanted to discuss something important and decided to leave, not wanting to intrude. Now alone in the room, Sasuke and Amaterasu faced each other. Breaking the silence, Sasuke expressed his gratitude, thank you for providing me with the information I needed, Amaterasu-sama. Amaterasu responded happily, you can call me Amaterasu. There is no need to be formal. Acknowledging her suggestion, Sasuke nodded and continued, I've been contemplating staying in this world. Amaterasu was taken aback by his unexpected statement. She believed that with his power, Sasuke would surely find a way back to his own world. I see, Sasuke, but there must be more you want to know, right? She asked, curious about his intentions. Sasuke nodded, gathering his courage. Can you bring back the dead? He asked directly. Amaterasu was momentarily confused, as her divinities were not aligned with such matters. I'm sorry, Sasuke, that's not my specialty. It is more closely associated with the underworld gods. Realizing he needed to press further, Sasuke posed another question, what if I have the soul of the person? Could you do it then? Amaterasu was taken aback by the request, knowing that meddling with the domain of death could raise complications. Perhaps, but interfering with souls would bring about inquiries from the gods of death. Sasuke's interest piqued at her response, sensing a glimmer of hope his family can return. If the soul doesn't belong to this world, could you do it? He asked. Amaterasu pondered for a few moments, considering the possibilities. I would need a vessel for that, she replied. Sasuke further explained his plan. What if the person's original body resides in a state between life and death and their soul is binded to a vessel? Sasuke understood the significance of his statement and hoped Amaterasu would not ask to offer the technique. He trusted their connection and believed Amaterasu to be trustworthy, but if needed, he would wipe her memories before they left this room. Well, if the person body is in a state of limbo, it can be considered damaged or flawed. It is likely with my divinity their body would be brought back to life. Since they are already in the realm of living and healing is one of my specialties, it is possible, Amaterasu responded. The nature of Sasuke's inquiry intrigued her, and she realized that if what he said was true, she could indeed perform such a feat. Sasuke had already proven to be their benefactor with the valuable information he provided, and with his decision to stay with Yasaka, he would become a formidable ally for the Shinto pantheon. A/N, the reanimation jutsu binds a person's soul to a vessel where their original body is in a state between life and death. This can be considered their body is damaged. Since Amaterasu is aligned with the creation of life, fixing a damaged body would be no issue. This is my thought process for reviving Sasuke family. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 16, Chapter 16, Alliance. Though Sasuke maintained a stoic expression, deep inside, he felt a surge of joy and hope. He didn't care about what others might say about holding on to the past. He had found a new purpose in this world alongside Yasaka and his soon-to-be resurrected family. Konoha is no longer a place for the Uchihas or myself. Even when I revive my family, no one in the Shinobi world will know of our resurgence. The Uchiha clan will disappear forever, he mused with no regret. Sasuke knew his utmost focus was finding a way back to his former home and acquiring the reanimation jutsu. Sasuke then sighed, and amid his excitement, a tinge of guilt gnawed at Sasuke's conscience when he thought of Naruto. If he hadn't chased after me when I became a rogue shinobi, I would still be following the path of darkness, and I doubt I would have paid any attention to Yasaka, he reflected. He knew Naruto was a selfless guy who only thought of others and the precious bonds he formed. At last, Naruto was still alone with no family, just like himself. Why could you not have been selfish? Now I feel like shit, finding my happiness, he thought. In an act of selflessness himself, Sasuke decided to bring Naruto's parents back for him if they were willing. He knew his father was friends with Minato and he also grew to admire the fourth Hokage out of all the Hokages. As he had envisioned bridging the gap between the Uchiha and the village. Sasuke's gaze bore into Amaterasu as he made his request known. I want my family to become allies of the Shinto pantheon, but on one condition, we need a place to stay, he stated, his tone serious and resolute. Amaterasu found herself taken aback by the proposition, realizing the significance of gaining such powerful allies. After a moment of astonishment, Amaterasu replied, I agree. We would be more than happy to have such strong allies by our side. Her delight was genuine, and she made no attempt to hide her satisfaction. Sasuke's shoulders visibly relaxed, relieved to have found a place for his family to reside and start anew. With Uchiha pride evident in his voice, Sasuke continued, my family possesses great strength, comparable to yours and even slightly weaker in some cases. We were once part of the police force in our former village, responsible for maintaining peace. Now, with Yasaka's love for Kyoto and Japan, my family would not have a problem protecting the country from supernatural threats. His words carried a weight of determination, as he knew the capabilities of the Uchiha forces. Amaterasu quickly expressed her gratitude, realizing that having Sasuke's family as allies would ensure the safety of her believers, particularly in the face of the Chaos Brigade. However, Sasuke chose this moment to reveal a painful truth about his clan. I must inform you that my clan was betrayed by the very village we founded and swore to protect. The new leaders were not part of the founding clans and they feared our clan's power. As a result, both our clans no longer exist, he explained, his tone grave and serious. Sasuke then intensified his presence in the room, applying pressure as he continued, I hope that my clan will not suffer the same fate in this new alliance. His eyes bore into Amaterasu's, conveying a sense of urgency and warning. Feeling the weight of his stare, Amaterasu couldn't help but feel a slight sweat form on her brow. The man before her was undeniably strong. Nevertheless, she spoke with conviction, assuring him, You have my word, Sasuke. Your clan will not face the same betrayal here. After explaining further details about Sasuke's request and alliance, he knew what his next plan to move forward was. His immediate goal was to establish his own reserve of six-path chakra, which required extensive meditation. He understood that by attaining full control and a substantial reserve of this chakra, his Rinnegan would grow even stronger. Venturing into the dimensional gap was a concern for him. He knew he was strong enough to survive there. However, the being residing in the dimensional gap was the concern. Once I master the six-path chakra and all the elements, I will have greater reassurance if I stumble on that dragon god. Leaving the meeting room, Sasuke made his way to the living room of Yasaka's home. Upon his arrival, he found Yasaka peacefully seated and engrossed in a book, taking a break from her duties. As Sasuke entered, Yasaka perked up, noticing his return. Sasuke, did you acquire what you needed? She inquired. A small smile formed on Sasuke's lips as he replied, Yes, I have achieved what I set out to obtain. Sitting down next to Yasaka, Sasuke experienced a calming aura emanating from her presence, allowing him to think more clearly, even amidst her occasional teasing. Remaining silent, Sasuke contemplated how he would accomplish his initial goal. Eventually, Sasuke's gaze shifted to Yasaka, who had apparently been watching him the whole time. Their eyes met, and she smiled. Sasuke broke the silence, informing her of his intentions. I will be training in seclusion for a while, Yasaka. What I must accomplish is of utmost importance, he stated. Yasaka's mood saddened, realizing that she would be unable to see Sasuke for a considerable period. Sensing her unease, he continued, Do not worry, Yasaka. I will not be fully secluded, you can visit any time you want. The things I am planning to do require a lot of meditation and concentration. Also, I did promise I would tell you more about myself. He had a gentle smile, reassuring her that their relationship would not be put on hold. Yasaka embraced Sasuke, assuring him and said happily, I will visit you like you said. We will go on a date as a couple when you are available. Sasuke reciprocated the hug and chuckle, I agree then, we will go on a date then. A/N, once the Sasuke return with his family in the DxD world. A lot of world building will happen around Japan and DxD characters will start be introduced once that happens. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 17, Closed Training and New Powers. Quickly, a year has passed since Sasuke's agreement with Amaterasu. In a secluded room graciously provided by Yasaka, Sasuke sat cross-legged, engaging in intense meditation. However, as promised, both Yasaka and himself went on dates together. He made time at least once a week for Yasaka to reassure her of his well-being. During his seclusion, Sasuke underwent a notable transformation in his appearance. He became even more handsome, inheriting his mother's beauty and charm. His youthful features matured, and his jawline became sharper. His eyes narrowed and darkened, appearing pitch black. Standing at a height of 6 feet, Sasuke now possessed a well-built, athletic physique. His iconic Uchiha black hair had grown and reached his shoulders. However, the most significant change was the patch covering his Rinnegan. Standing up from his seated position, Sasuke muttered to himself, Finally, my chakra reserves have transformed into the 6 paths chakra. Through his rigorous meditation, Sasuke successfully merged the Yin Six Paths power bestowed upon him by the Sage of Six Paths. It was not an easy process, as Sasuke encountered multiple challenges while attempting to blend these two chakras. Fortunately, with the aid of various scrolls and books on supernatural energies, he acquired the necessary knowledge to harmonize them. As a result, he now possessed only the Six Paths chakra, albeit the yin half, but it was far more potent than ordinary chakra. Even a small amount of this chakra could produce incredible effects when performing jutsu. However, the most significant outcome of Sasuke's closed-door seclusion was the tremendous growth of his Rinnegan. Over the course of 2 months, as Sasuke's chakra converted, his Rinnegan underwent an evolution. Each major breakthrough he achieved resulted in the appearance of another tomo in his Rinnegan. Finally, after successfully transforming his chakra reserves into the Six Paths chakra, Sasuke's Rinnegan fully evolved into the Rain Sharingan. His eye now possessed a deep purple hue with 6 ripples, adorned with 9 tomo surrounding it. Sasuke left the room, filled with happiness after successfully achieving his first goal. As he walked, he pondered his next step, muttering to himself, "It seems that acquiring an arm with Hashirama's cells will grant me the Yang Six Paths chakra and allow me to become the true Sage of Six Paths." Sasuke couldn't help but feel a bit envious of Naruto, who could float after receiving the complete reserve of the Six Paths chakra. He felt that he had only obtained a small amount of Six Paths chakra with his Rinnegan and thought, this old man is really stingy and showing favoritism among his sons. On the contrary, Sasuke was able to fix the issue of flying in this world. He knew that in this world, abilities related to flight were common among strong beings. With the use of his perfect Susanoo, he was able to mimic the angels and devils by creating wings of his own. With his perfect chakra control and his Manjiko Sharingan, he was able to manipulate the shape of his Susanoo to his will, but this came after many failed attempts, leading him to crash to the ground face first. If anyone saw this, Sasuke knew he would die of embarrassment, so he kept it to himself. Not forgetting, he also mastered all chakra natures. When Sasuke obtained the Rinnegan, he had an affinity for all chakra natures. Now, with his Rinner Sharingan, he was able to comprehend and master them at a quicker and easier rate. Thus, Kekgenkai was no longer limited to one's bloodline for him. As Kaguya was the progenitor of chakra, Sasuke's bloodline was getting closer to hers without being the ten-tailed Jinchuriki. He meticulously mastered advanced nature transformation, particularly ice release, as he remembers Haku, the boy who trapped Naruto literally inside and outside. This led him to recreate Haku's technique, demonic ice crystal. Finally, Sasuke mastered his new ability related to his Rinchurigan. When he first acquired information related to his ability, he was shocked. It was similar to Kaguya and Obito's abilities, which made him fully determined to master them, as they would aid Yasaka and his family tremendously in the future. Now, in one of Yasaka's training grounds, Sasuke wanted to fully test his Susanoo wings. Behind his back was a pair of purple wings, fully made out of chakra. The wings were exactly the same as his perfect Susanoo, both in shape and details. Sasuke was easily floating over the ground with his wings. He couldn't help but chuckle. Who does not want to fly? The only person who could fly in the Shinobi world was an old relic, Oniki. He moved around the training ground, getting accustomed to this new freedom of movement. Unexpectedly, Yasaka arrived at the training ground and witnessed Sasuke soaring in the air. A small smile formed on her face as she watched him. Sasuke was aware of Yasaka's presence and made his way towards her. Yasaka was taken aback by Sasuke's transformed appearance. Her throat felt dry, and she swallowed, feeling her instincts stir. My, Sasuke-kun, you have grown into a man," she teasingly remarked, unable to contain herself as she just wanted to pounce on him. Sasuke's newfound handsomeness was undeniable. During his seclusion, Sasuke had reflected on his feelings for Yasaka and realized that he had come to love her. Wanting to be open about his emotions, he embraced her in a hug. Being taller now, he gently rested her head against his chest. Yasaka blushed and savored Sasuke's alluring scent, her heightened yokai senses making her mind feel fuzzy. Sasuke leaned down, his head close to Yasaka's, and breathed in her scent, feeling his entire body calm and relax in her presence. He gently lifted her chin with his hand, locking his gaze with hers. Sasuke wasn't aware of how deeply his actions were affecting Yasaka in that moment. I have completed my training, as you can see from my appearance. Many things have changed. As promised, I will fully open up about myself. But before that, there is somewhere I need to visit, Sasuke said in a soothing voice. Yasaka could only whimper in response, her mind filled with a mix of anticipation and curiosity. After their heartfelt embrace, Sasuke intended to playfully poke Yasaka's forehead, as usual. However, a mischievous thought crossed his mind. Just as he was about to bid farewell, Sasuke pretended to poke her forehead but swiftly planted a gentle kiss on her lips. In a matter of seconds, he disappeared from her sight. As Sasuke disappeared with a flicker, Yasaka's mind practically exploded with a mix of emotions. She had missed Sasuke deeply, as only seeing him once a week was saddening. Seeing him again, accompanied by his transformed appearance, only heightened her anticipation for tonight when he would finally open up about himself. However, she needed to gather herself after Sasuke's unexpected kiss. Momentarily frozen in shock, Yasaka soon found herself squirming with a mixture of excitement and longing. Her fox-like features began twitching with anticipation, yearning for Sasuke's embrace once again. Unbeknownst to Yasaka, Sasuke hadn't actually disappeared very far. He had lingered nearby, observing her reaction to his actions. Seeing her response, he felt a sense of satisfaction that he had done something right. With a playful tone, he murmured, "You will be mine tonight, Yasaka." Having concluded his observation, Sasuke focused his chakra into his Rain Sharingan and opened a portal to the dimensional gap. Interestingly, Sasuke's portal evolved and changed from purple to pitch black thanks to the new ability he gained after acquiring the Rain Sharingan. As the portal materialized before him, Sasuke took a step forward and muttered, "Perhaps I will find my final answers here." A/N, I tried make his power-ups logical. Also Senjutsu, would be learnt later. In a year, what he gained seem reasonable and not too fast to become overpowered. Right now he is definitely top 5 in DxD. Remember, Sasuke is only 19 years right now, he still lack combat experience compared to Shiva. For Great Red and Off-Eyes, they have no experience but brute force, but Sasuke can still escape from them easily uninjured and injure them. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 18, Dimensional Gap and Anger. A swirling black portal opened within the dimensional gap, and Sasuke stepped out smoothly, surveying his surroundings. He found himself in an endless void filled with a kaleidoscope of colors. As he took in the environment, he noticed a subtle pressure emanating around him. His Six Paths chakra had evidently increased his durability, allowing him to withstand the conditions with minimal use of chakra coating around his body. Deciding to explore the dimensional gap, Sasuke activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. Though his one Sharingan hadn't evolved into a Rinnegan, Sasuke wasn't disheartened by it. In fact, he found it preferable, as this is what made him an Uchiha. With his Sharingan activated, Sasuke summoned his Susanoo, and a purple aura enveloped him as he began to float upwards. Reaching towering heights, he unleashed his perfect Susanoo, which had grown stronger since acquiring the Six Paths chakra. It now boasted increased durability, towering stature, and a majestic aura. Sasuke couldn't help but contemplate his newfound power. He realized that with his Susanoo alone, he could have easily destroyed the moon using normal chakra. Now, he wondered just how strong he had become, even contemplating his ability to annihilate an entire planet. Sasuke acknowledged the tremendous growth in his strength since acquiring his Rinnegan. This new world offered him fresh opportunities for growth and allowed him to better understand and stabilize his newfound abilities. Compared to the time when he sealed Kaguya, Sasuke's understanding of his own capabilities had expanded significantly. As Sasuke soared through the dimensional gap, he focused his chakra into his Rin Sharingan. A vibrant purple glow emanated from his eye as he scanned the vast expanse. With his Rin Sharingan's power to comprehend space and time, Sasuke easily grasped the nature of the dimension. As he observed the multitude of lines that crisscrossed the endless void, he gained knowledge of their significance. Sasuke discovered that these lines acted as coordinates, connecting the realms of earth, heaven, and the underworld to the dimensional gap. They served as pathways that he could traverse in any direction, allowing Sasuke to navigate effortlessly between these realms. Furthermore, he realized that the lines extended beyond these three realms, leading to places outside the dimensional gap and even beyond the boundaries of the universe. Sasuke's smile widened as he realized he now possessed the coordinates to leave this world. Previously, the dimensional gap had prevented his return home, but with his Rin Sharingan and expanded knowledge of space-time, Sasuke knew exactly how to find his way back. His life was finally beginning to brighten, free from the darkness that had consumed him. Standing within his Susanoo, Sasuke noticed a red dragon emerging from a portal. Sensing the immense strength of the creature, he recognized it as Great Red. Sasuke acknowledged that his own power was a little behind that of Great Red, and while he believed he could emerge victorious if they were to fight with all their might. TCH, this guy can revive, as he is the concept of dreams. Sealing him will most likely do the trick, he said. However, he lamented, shit, if only I had natural energy, I could use Indra Susanoo and win easily. Engaging in such a battle would likely result in severe injury. Realizing the urgency, I need my arm back as my combat prowess would be far stronger. It seems mastering Senjutsu and inner gates is a must if I want to keep my family safe in this world. With determination, Sasuke concluded that it was time to depart. Observing that Great Red showed no signs of aggression, Sasuke surmised that the dragon either recognized his strength or simply didn't care to engage in combat. Having returned to Yasaka's home, which he hoped would become his new home in the future, Sasuke realized that several hours had passed during his absence. Determined to fulfill his promise to Yasaka and considering it was already evening, he began searching for her within the house. However, Sasuke soon discovered that Yasaka was not present. He speculated that she was likely outside attending to her duties as the leader of the yokai. Eager to meet her, Sasuke decided to go find her himself. Before he could use his newfound ability to locate Yasaka, his attention was drawn to a distressed Amaterasu approaching him. Sasuke, you're back. That's great, she exclaimed. Sasuke was puzzled by her expression and responded, yes, I have returned. I was just about to go look for Yasaka. Amaterasu's expression turned grave as she delivered the news. While you were away, the Cows Brigade attacked multiple places across Japan. Yasaka's people was used as leverage. She had no choice but to listen to their demands. And allow herself to be kidnapped, she said urgently. We have been searching for her for some time, but we have found no clues except for the involvement of sacred gear users. Most likely Longinus users, allowing them to escape easily and hide their presence. Sasuke fell silent, his face devoid of emotion, as he absorbed Amaterasu's words. In an instant, Sasuke's expression darkened, and all traces of emotion vanished. I will find her and bring her back, he said flatly. He walked away, his hands clenching tightly as blood began to drip. He spoke cryptically, fucking sacred gears. A gift to humanity, they said. Sasuke could not believe it, the person who helped him find light was missing. He thought of the worst. He berated himself for waiting too long to confess his feelings. He made a solemn vow to himself that those responsible for Yasaka's kidnapping would face severe consequences, and death would be a mere light punishment for them. Activating his Rin Sharingan, Sasuke utilized his new space-time ability, causing a black portal to materialize before him. Prior to his departure, Sasuke had memorized Yasaka's unique signature related to using this ability. Tracking her location, he opened the portal but opted for a different approach. Instead of entering the portal himself, Sasuke's body underwent a transformation, shrouded in dark smoke that seemed to merge with the shadows. As the smoke snaked its way towards the portal, Sasuke's presence vanished, and the portal closed behind him. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 19, Chapter 19, Sacred Gear User. As the night began to fall, a dark portal materialized near an abandoned warehouse. Emerging from the portal, a swirling black mist enveloped Sasuke before dissipating, revealing his form. He observed his surroundings and remarked, "My control over darkness manipulation has improved." A/N, Sasuke's new ability will be related to Nyx. He can also manipulate shadows and cover his body in a black mist. The ability is also similar to Obito's intangibility. Although Sasuke possessed the means to appear directly in front of Yasaka by utilizing her shadow signature, he chose not to take any risks. With no knowledge of the kidnapper's abilities, caution was paramount. With his sharp gaze locked onto the building, the cool wind tousled Sasuke's hair as it fluttered in the breeze. Activating all his dojutsu, his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan gleaming brightly alongside his Rain Sharingan, Sasuke stood prepared. He was determined to unleash his wrath upon every individual within the warehouse, mercilessly exacting vengeance for laying their hands on someone who did not belong to them. With his kusanagi firmly grasped in one hand and his shadow cloak activated, Sasuke's body became intangible. Bathed in the moon's illuminating light, he could materialize anywhere using his shadow-based abilities, utilizing his extensive shinobi skills to his advantage. The black mist swiftly glided across the ground, rapidly approaching the building. As Sasuke reached the gate, he seamlessly emerged from behind an unsuspecting individual's shadow, swiftly beheading them with a single decisive strike. He repeated this method for the guards stationed at the entrance, dispatching them without hesitation. Entering the building, Sasuke found an empty courtyard but sensed the presence of approximately 40 individuals, specifically humans, inside the warehouse. Maintaining his misty form, he stealthily moved through the building, his goal clear in his mind. Within the warehouse, his enemies seemed carefree, mingling and chatting as if unaware of the imminent danger. Sasuke channeled lightning chakra, its crackling glow surrounding his mist-covered body. He launched himself towards his adversaries, his movements a blur. With swift slashes of his sword, heads rolled, one after another. In a matter of seconds, a blue streak of lightning moved with inhumane speed, leaving a trail of 20 lifeless bodies in its wake. Without giving them a chance to react, Sasuke continued his onslaught, his swift sword skills on full display. Drawing upon the power of Chidori Katana, his kusanagi crackled with electrifying chakra as he swiftly dispatched the remaining individuals. Since his entrance, the blue streak of death zigzagged throughout the building, expertly cutting down all his adversaries. Sasuke stood in the center of the aftermath, his gaze devoid of emotion as he surveyed the fallen. They had received their just punishment for daring to kidnap the person he loved. Dismissing the defeated enemies as weak and of low to mid-level strength, Sasuke scoffed at their incompetence. He noted that everyone in the warehouse appeared to be human, specifically magicians. War, Sasuke muttered with a hint of annoyance, realizing that the presence of war maniacs seemed to be common, no matter where he went. Returning to his human form, Sasuke proceeded along the warehouse corridor, determined to find Yasaka. Suddenly, he encountered a young man in a spacious, empty room. Their eyes locked in a tense standoff, neither willing to back down. "Who are you?" the man demanded, but Sasuke remained silent, his blood-stained sword poised to strike down any obstacle in his path. Observing his opponent, Sasuke noted that the man was merely a human with ultimate class strength, yet he bore a distinctive aura within him. Why do you oppose the hero faction? Are you not human? We are saving the world from these evil beings, the man remarked, attempting to sway Sasuke's resolve. Upon hearing the term hero, Sasuke retorted, "You're no hero when you kidnap an innocent person," firmly denouncing the man's misguided actions. A/N, the canon caste is not born, so these are the previous sacred gear holders. Unfazed by the man's attempts to defend himself, Sasuke prepared to attack, only to pause as he witnessed the activation of the unique signature. The man placed his hands together, causing a red glow to emanate from them. In a ripple-like motion, black alien-like creatures emerged from his surroundings. These creatures, with their red eyes, multiplied rapidly, and mana gathered within their gaze. A combined white beam of energy shot forth, aimed at Sasuke. Reacting swiftly, Sasuke activated his Susanoo ribcage, using it as a protective shield to deflect the powerful beam. A cold smile played across his face as he muttered, "How unfortunate for you." Releasing a portion of the black mist from his body, Sasuke began to absorb the creatures that were composed of shadows. Within seconds, the black mist behind Sasuke began to take shape. Using the shadows of the creatures the man had created, Sasuke forged his own creation. Standing tall at around 10 feet, a knight appeared. Adorned in black knight armor with distinct purple markings, the knight's helmet featured glowing purple eyes. Sasuke spoke smoothly, commanding his knight, "Capture this man and render him incapacitated." Drawing his sword, the knight responded with a hoarse tone, "Yes, my liege." The knight's unwavering loyalty to Sasuke ensured that he would carry out any assigned task without question. Sasuke added, "Also, absorb all the shadows created by this man in my dimension. They will serve as useful underlings for you to command in future endeavors." "With pleasure," the knight replied, dashing forward in a blur of black and purple with glowing eyes, as he engaged the remaining beasts in combat. With complete trust in his loyal shadow companion, Sasuke vanished from the room, knowing that his companion could handle himself and that the knight could reform within Sasuke's dimension. Sasuke moved swiftly, traversing the corridors with incredible speed as he continued his path towards Yasaka. Upon reaching a particular room, Sasuke sensed Yasaka's presence. However, he also detected another individual with a similar aura to the previous man but possessing holy energy. Sasuke wasted no time and forcefully kicked open the door. His eyes fell upon the man, who was on the verge of injecting something into an unconscious Yasaka. Reacting instantly, Sasuke activated his Chidori spear, releasing a concentrated beam of lightning that tore through the air, targeting the man's arm. The strike was precise, cleanly severing the man's arm, which fell to the ground. A/N, cleared my writer's block for this novel yesterday. I know exactly where to take this story as I have let 3/4 of the novel envisioned. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 20, True Longinus 1/2. With unwavering determination, Sasuke unleashed his Chidori spear, slicing through the perpetrator's arm in a swift and decisive strike. As his eyes darted towards Yasaka, a wave of relief washed over him to see that she was alive, albeit unconscious. Yasaka remained bound to a table, surrounded by intricate magic circles, in a vulnerable state that tugged at Sasuke's heart. The urgency to reach her was strong, but his attention was swiftly diverted as the man regrew his severed limb with the aid of phoenix tears. Annoyance burned within Sasuke, fueling his resolve to break the will of his adversary. However, the situation demanded immediate action, and Sasuke decided that killing the man would be the best course of action to check on Yasaka's condition faster. Infusing chakra into his feet, Sasuke propelled himself forward with incredible speed, closing the distance between them in an instant. With lightning-fast precision, he unleashed a powerful roundhouse kick aimed at the man's stomach. Caught off guard, the man's eyes widened in surprise as Sasuke's strike connected with full force, propelling him forcefully into a nearby wall. The impact shattered the wall, sending the man hurtling into a new room. Sasuke wasted no time and swiftly flickered towards him, preparing to deliver a devastating blow to his abdomen. However, the man swiftly summoned a spear brimming with holy energy, halting Sasuke's advance. He shouted in anger, "How dare you betray humanity in order to save a stupid fox?" The insult struck a nerve with Sasuke, who prided himself on keeping his emotions in check. Referring to Yasaka as a stupid fox ignited a slight fiery of anger within him. Sasuke analyzed the man's spear and thought, the strongest sacred gear, true Longinus. He recognized it as a sacred gear since its aura was similar to the one he had encountered before. Such an idiotic creation, he remarked and scoffed at the notion of humanity's chances for survival, as the devils were already reincarnating sacred gear users and the fallen angels were eliminating them. A sinister grin formed on Sasuke's face as he mocked the man's possession of the true Longinus, the most powerful sacred gear. Sasuke summoned his Kusanagi sword from his shadow dimension, a convenient advantage given his current one-armed state. Sasuke lunged forward, his movements fluid and precise, as he clashed with the wielder of the true Longinus. Their weapons clashed with a resounding clash, each swing of Sasuke's sword met with a staunch defense from the Longinus spear. The air crackled with tension as they engaged in a fierce battle of skill and strategy. Recognizing the formidable weapon mastery of his opponent, Sasuke activated his Sharingan, his eyes transforming into the three tomos. With his enhanced perception and tracking abilities, he effortlessly anticipated the man's movements, staying one step ahead at all times. Sparks flew with every clash of their weapons, creating a mesmerizing display of power and precision. Sasuke reveled in the thrill of battle, his senses heightened as adrenaline coursed through his veins. The clash of steel echoed through the room, filling it with an aura of intensity. As the battle intensified, Sasuke seized an opportunity. With a quick feint of his sword, he swiftly changed his trajectory, aiming a powerful slash towards the man's abdomen. The move caught his opponent off guard, leaving an opening that Sasuke expertly exploited. His blade sliced through the air, finding its mark with a satisfying impact. The man's defenses crumbled under the onslaught, unable to withstand the force of Sasuke's attack. As Sasuke's attack connected with his opponent's, his senses heightened, giving him a sense of danger. His opponent, who ignored his own bleeding, wasted no time. With a swift motion, the man extended his spear towards Sasuke once again, impaling him with precision. However, Sasuke was prepared and utilized a Menotashikara. He replaced himself with a nearby object, escaping without any damage, or so he thought. He glanced at his abdomen and noticed he was grazed badly. He tapped into his six paths chakra, using its restorative properties to begin healing his wound. Despite the pain, he could not ignore the danger of this specific sacred gear. So, this is why they call it a god killer, he mused, a hint of amusement in his voice. Activating his Mangekyo Sharingan, Sasuke focused his chakra, conjuring the inextinguishable black flames of Amaterasu. The searing darkness erupted from his eyes, hurtling towards his opponent with relentless fury. The man, sensing the imminent danger, swiftly swung his spear, attempting to slash through the engulfing flames. Undeterred, Sasuke unleashed another wave of Amaterasu, forcing the man to evade and dodge, his movements becoming more frantic. A smile graced Sasuke's lips as he watched the man's desperate attempts to avoid the encroaching flames. In that moment, Sasuke activated Kagutsuki, his mastery over the black flames. Skillfully manipulating the inferno, he guided countless fiery spikes towards his foe. Each spike pierced the man's body, eliciting agonized screams as the scorching flames consumed his flesh. The air filled with the acrid scent of burning flesh, and the room became a chaotic dance of fire and pain. However, in a split second, the man was strong and activated his balance breaker, causing 7 ominous dark purple orbs to materialize around him. Sasuke couldn't help but notice the resemblance to Naruto's truth-seeking orbs. Before he could react, one of the orbs absorbed his Amaterasu flames, shielding the man from further harm, and he had already healed himself with another phoenix tear. With his spear aimed directly at Sasuke, the man unleashed a powerful blue beam. Sasuke swiftly evaded the attack, employing his exceptional agility and reflexes to stay one step ahead. His movements became a mesmerizing dance of evasion as he dodged the relentless assault. "Sacred gears are really annoying," Sasuke muttered as he replaced himself with one of the orbs around the man and appeared in front of him, ready to end this fight. Enjoying the story? You can support me by giving reviews, comments and power stones. Also check out my other story, Naruto, Yukari Otsutsuki Adventure. Chapter 21, Chapter 21, True Longinus 2 Halves. With a swift swing of his sword, Sasuke aimed to strike the sacred gear user. However, his attack was thwarted as one of the black orbs intercepted the blade, causing his kusanagi to crumble and disintegrate upon contact. Sasuke's eyes widened in surprise, but he quickly regained his composure. Without wasting a moment, his body transformed into a mist-like black form, becoming intangible as he merged with the shadows of the night, retreating a few meters away from his opponent. Returning to his human form, Sasuke jumped upwards to his adversary and made one hand seal. He channeled his chakra, unleashing the fire-style, Great Fireball Jutsu. A massive ball of fire erupted from his mouth, engulfing the area and obstructing his opponent's field of vision. Taking advantage of the chaos caused by the fire, Sasuke swiftly retrieved shurikens from his dimensional shadow storage, infusing them with chakra. With precision and skill, he hurled the charged shuriken towards the man. The ball made of fire swiftly made its way towards its intended target. Upon his opponents seeing this, he deftly slashed through it with his spear, causing it to split and disperse. Meanwhile, the shurikens, although aimed at the man, took an unexpected trajectory, flying away from him. Unfazed by their diversion, the man arrogantly questioned Sasuke's allegiance, taunting him with the words, "Do you dare oppose the Cow's Brigade?" Unperturbed by the man's words, Sasuke aimed his hand at the man and gripped tightly. In a display of his mastery, the shurikens altered their course, seemingly guided by an invisible force. Spiraling through the air, they swiftly closed in on the man, their trajectory carefully manipulated by Sasuke's chakra-infused strings. With each passing moment, the shuriken drew nearer, encircling the man's body like a web of entanglement. Such arrogance, but still getting trapped, Sasuke thought. He knew the supernatural beings of this world looked down upon each other because they were all arrogant. Especially for the man in possession of the strongest sacred gear, True Longinus, it definitely inflated his ego. Utilizing his Rain Sharingan unique abilities, Sasuke conjured a spear forged from darkness. Infusing it with the power of Amaterasu, he enhanced the attack and propelled the spear towards the man with a flick of his hand. The spear moved with inhuman speed, its dark form blending seamlessly into the night as it silently reached its target. Piercing through the man's body, it impaled him, trapping him in place. Sasuke seized the opportunity, knowing he only needed a brief moment to strike. As the spear lodged into the man, he was driven into the ground, causing a devastating explosion that created a crater. Within the crater, black flames swiftly spread, enveloping the area. Sasuke swiftly flickered towards the man and skillfully